What's up, everybody, and welcome to the show. This podcast episode is brought to you by IBOW Training. As you know, we talk about training pretty frequently here on the show, and the IBOW has some amazing people that they work with in their network. Are you a designer, rapper, sign maker, or beyond? If you want to invest in your creativity for the future, IBOW Training is the right choice. IBOW is the nation's first training organization to offer training in all aspects of the rap industry, from quoting, design, printing, production, and installation. They offer a variety of training options such as training at your shop, group training classes nationwide, and even private design and print profile training through remote login. With trainers nationwide, IBOW offers support day and night by phone, and many of their trainers are within a day's reach for emergencies. IBOW is growing and will continue to support the industry in a positive manner. For more information, please visit ibowtraining.com. We are also brought to you by We Print Wraps. We Print Wraps is the industry's #1 source for wholesale printed wraps. How easy is it to order wraps? Well, all you have to do is sell the job. Go to weprinwraps.com, choose your desired film for the installation, upload your design, and if you're not a designer, no problem. They can design one for you and get your wraps delivered right to your door. They offer free nationwide shipping all across the U.S. and Canada on all orders over $500. And for exclusive listeners of the All Wrapped Up podcast, you can get 5% promo code when you type in the word All Wrapped Up at checkout to save on your next order today. Less risk, no overhead, wholesale printing. See why the industry pros love them. To get more information, visit weprinwraps.com. Our next guest built his business in lawn care. After needing some lettering for his vehicles, he built a relationship with this wrap guy for a few years and ended up purchasing the wrap business. He quickly learned his life was going to change for the next 18 months. He has now learned so much about business and the industry that he's in the process of opening up his second location for the automotive restyling side of the business. Please give it up for the great and powerful Andrew Banks. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading rap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, Andrew, what's going on, brother?
And not a whole lot. Just wrapping up my very busy Monday. I run primarily commercial, so Monday's a big drop-off and pick-up day for us.
Oh, yeah. Definitely know that route all too well. What did you have getting picked up, and what did you have getting dropped off today?
So definitely a lot more, drop-offs than pickups for today. I have a small little mini episode going on our Instagram page where I just kind of go, what's in the shop Wednesdays, but a very large fleet company for us, called the Premier Group. They've been rebranding like 22, 23 different vehicles over the course of about a year and a half.
Wow.
So, one of the big ones was from them. We dropped off a van and picked up a van, to completely rebrand it. They're like 5 different construction type companies that all merged into one brand.
Wow.
So yeah, they're all converting from what was just kind of lettering all through the van to partial wraps. So that's been a good for them because they look so much better now that they're uniformed under one brand. And then, good for me on the back end because we make more money on a partial wrap than we do lettering. So works better for everybody.
You know it. Did you end up doing the lettering prior as well? The print cuts?
Yeah. So I bought Performance Wraps about 3 years ago. This was a client that I guess I inherited, or bought into. So we had done the lettering prior to me being here. I did some of their lettering, and then shortly after I took over is when they kind of sat down with me and was like, all right, this is what's going on with our business. We're merging 5 into 1 and now we need to rebrand everything. So,
Nice.
I was there from the very beginning of the rebranding and the back end of the lettering.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's one of the drop offs we got today. We got a 24-foot food truck trailer that got dropped off today, a boat that needs some graphics dropped off today, and then we're finishing up a community action partnership company. We're finishing up one of their wraps today as well, so their pickup's actually for tomorrow. So
Nice.
yeah, I got a lot going on. A lot going on in front of me.
It's a good Monday right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
It's a busy Monday.
I had, God, what did I have today? I did 2.5 partials today.
Okay.
Which was really good. I mean, there were probably 3/4. I wouldn't even consider it a partial. You know, when you try to get away with like the partial wraps and you're like, oh, maybe it's like a half, but when it's like 3/4, ooh, it's like a few hours, you know what I mean, for the install.
Right. And is that all you, or do you have somebody else working on this?
I would probably say 80% was me, give or take. My boss, my boss helps me out once in a while, when it comes down to it, but he's so busy. When he comes over, it's kind of funny because when he comes over, I'm like, you gonna grab the squeegee? And it's like, he comes over, the phone rings, he's gotta pick it up, or he's getting pulled away because he needs to go give a quote for someone. So it's funny watching the ballet of him trying to work, doing the installs, but then it's like, as soon as he gets the squeegee in his hand, he's getting pulled away. It's hilarious. So, but it's nice. But when we work together, it's literally like, we don't talk to each other. We just work. Heads in the game. Just like, don't even talk. I'm on to the next panel. He's doing whatever. He'll cut. He'll do all the trimming. I'll do all the laying, and I'll just keep moving in rotation. And we've got a really good system going. When it works out really well. But yeah, I would probably say I am probably the main installer for a lot of the action that goes on at our one location. We have 2 other bays that are continuously getting installs done. We probably wrap about, I don't know, maybe 5 to 8 vehicles a day, give or take, between the 3 locations. Yeah, no,
that's nuts. I can't wait till I'm to that level, I guess. We're only doing maybe 1 to 3 full wraps a week. Now every day we have 1 or 2 smaller things coming in, whether it just kind of be what we call just a door slap. So think of construction lawn care. Yeah, construction lawn care guys just getting something on the door, or like a roof wrap, small stuff like that. But
those are great money though. 2 doors and a tailgate. Ooh, I love doing those.
Yeah, no, they're super quick, and they're pretty profitable. It just sucks we're limited on space. I mean, I'm operating out of 1,800 square feet, so I have one 14-foot door that, I mean, only goes maybe 25 or 30 feet deep. So
yeah, so you're very on bigger projects. You're limited, you know, and it sucks when you got a rainy day and you're trying to get the cars in before, or trying to get them in the bay all squeezed in, so you don't have to deal with a wet car.
Yeah.
That is a nightmare.
Exactly. Or on just rainy days. I mean, we'll do some of those, like, again, what I call door slaps. We'll do a lot of those door slaps and not even pull them in. We'll just go out right in the parking lot and
bang them out.
Slap them. Yeah. Bang them out, slap them, and all right, on your way, and get back to work.
Yeah, go make some money.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah. I want to invest in, I know I saw one on Amazon. It's one of those, it's like a blower. I forget what they call it. It was like, it's like a specific brand. It's a little handheld. It's probably, I don't know, I'd probably say it's probably about a foot tall, maybe 8 inches, 9 inches diameter. And you just blow out all the gaskets. The plug-in blower, a little handheld one. You could blow all the gaskets or around the door moldings, get rid of all that water so you can start wrapping.
Yeah, no, that would actually be, that'd be super helpful. I haven't seen those. I mean, the only thing I can really do to dry stuff out at this point is put a towel around a squeegee and try to get up underneath stuff.
Oh my God. You ever tape up like towels or tape up, paper towels to the top of the windows
so you don't get any
Oh
drips
yeah.
coming down.
Yeah, absolutely. I've used like painter's tape and stuff where I'll dry it out and then kind of pretty much wrap the seal just so water won't come out.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's fun.
Get
But,
crafty. You have to get
yeah.
crafty when it comes out. When you're on a tight deadline,
Mm-hmm.
it sucks because they're dropping off. You can't really predict the weather. If they're scheduled to drop off, they're scheduled to drop off. But it's like the things we have to do sometimes, to just get the job done is insane. The clients never
Right.
see it, but
Yeah, no, I
fun.
agree.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what we have to do to make things work, or, I mean, even just on tight deadlines, because like I said, we run printers and laminators here, and it'll go through a laminator and the 1 in 1,000th panel that the laminator just decides to eat it.
Oh.
So yeah, clients don't understand some of the stuff that happens. They're like, it's just slapping a sticker on there. It can't be that hard.
Yeah, as if it produces itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. Now what type of laminator do you have?
I think it's a GFP. Does that sound right?
GFP.
I could be wrong. I'm just going to walk up there and look at it.
Yeah.
No, so it's a GFP, Graphic Finishing Partners is the brand. But I call it the Cadillac of laminators. I mean, it's all automatic, and forgive me, I was not the one that went out and handpicked and selected all my equipment. This is still all the stuff from when I bought the business. So
right.
Dealing with what I bought from the beginning.
Hey.
But if I look it up to, it works really well. If I look it up to try to buy it brand new, because I was wanting to, because I have kind of two sides of the printing. I have the wrap, and then I have like kind of the cheaper decals.
Right.
So I was running a whole separate laminator just out of efficiency / laziness of having two laminators, one running the cheaper film and one running the more expensive film. But they were like $9,000. So I'm like, I'll wait on that expense. I'll deal with the 6 minutes to switch a lam roll out.
Yeah, but the 6 minutes too. I mean, the shitty part about that is when you cut it off the roll, you're wasting film every time you're cutting it off the roll.
Yeah.
And when you're producing I don't know if you produce a lot of your graphics. Not a lot of us don't do roll to roll, but you get like a half a roll going, and then you're getting towards the end of your printable media, but then you got to switch out the laminate again and get a new fresh roll on there. It never evens out where the amount of waste you have on the print side is the same as you have on the laminate side. So that way you're not getting into a fresh roll halfway through a printed roll, and then it's not roll to roll anymore as far as the two lambs and printable media. So it's shitty because it's wasted, and we have to compensate for that at the end of the year. Obviously, take a hit on it, but honestly, if you get a Royal Sovereign, $5-6 grand, it might be better. Get a cheaper one if you're not running a lot of long prints out of it. It's probably worth getting a really cheap used one, even just to put your intermediate film on there or laminate. What are you using? What are you using for a lot of your door slaps? Are you using just like Oracal, Orafold?
Yeah. So if we're doing like just the one color running through the plotter, I mean, it's some form of the Oracal series, with either 651, 951. I mean, most of the time I literally just hand them the book and be like, all right, what color do you want?
Pick one. Yeah.
And then for any of our like actually going on the vans, it's like either IJ40. Sometimes I'll run it on 180. It's a little expensive, but if it's small and I can kind of run it with some bigger prints, it's just kind of, a lot of it's just time. I mean, I have a small garage, so I have to run extremely efficient. So sometimes switching out to the cheaper film for a door slap to save, I don't know, $30 isn't worth that much time, because if I switch the film out on the printer, then I need to switch the lam roll out, and it's just a
Time
little
over
bit of a
money.
headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When I could just keep running it with the 180 that I'm running a full wrap on.
Right.
So,
And plus you run less media, so you don't have a bunch of media sitting around either, where it's your intermediate or a bunch of intermediate and then a bunch of like premium, which I'm sure your premium is probably just the same. IJ 180, CV3, whatever the newest one is. I would almost charge for the premium stuff, and if you get to it, you get to it. If you don't and you're running on the premium stuff, you're still getting paid for it.
yeah, so I do the same thing. So even the Oracle, like the cheaper stuff, I mean, a lot of times I'll just kind of run that at the same price points I do 180, which is a ridiculous difference. Now, obviously I'm not like wrapping cars, so I'm not making like an extra $1,000 per car, but, it's a lot easier, honestly, so I do a lot of like standardized like math. Like it's like you get charged this price per square foot.
Mm-hmm.
If you have just the 08, like the Ohio license numbers, or you want your phone number black, and I am able to run that on Oracle, kind of cheaper stuff instead of all of my expensive stuff, then, I mean, I win. So,
right.
But then other times, I mean, I'll lose on that if I just run it all on 180, or I shouldn't say lose, but margins are just lower.
But, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I remembered, back in the day, I'd always thought, you gotta have a bunch of films available for different aspects of the business, where if you run some signage, you gotta use I think I was using Orfold 3561, or I forget which number. The numbers drive me crazy. I gotta tell you, the keeping track of this, the number game, it's like, hey, let's come up with names, names are easier to remember than numbers, I think,
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually just ordered some, so we're starting to use a little bit, more of like our trailers or vans, but we're starting to run some of the Arlon SLX film.
Oh, how do you like that?
Honestly, I wouldn't recommend it for like the front bumper of a Mustang or something, but for a lot of what we do, where we're just doing like transit wraps, van wraps, or box trucks, like it's worked out just well for me. Now, obviously, I haven't been using it for 5 to 10 years to figure out what that long-term durability is on it.
Yeah.
But my rep at Feller's kind of strongly recommended, like, you should try it. Especially because I've called him a few times on like just clients quote checking me against other shops on some box trucks and stuff, and I'm a couple $100 difference. So call my rep and ask him what I can do. He told me to start looking at Arlon SLX, and started trying it. So far, so good. I mean, back to kind of what you said with the names before, like I ordered it this morning and they were like, okay, is it the 3270 or 10? Or I'm like, I don't know, whatever I ordered last time. Just look at my order history, because I cannot remember all these numbers between all these different film companies.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah. I've heard some mixed reviews on the material as far as like install. It prints great, I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard things are like taking it off is a nightmare. The adhesion is like really like it stays on there.
Okay. I haven't had to do a removal on it yet, so I don't have that experience.
Yeah,
but
and it doesn't contour very well to really deep recesses or like deeper recesses. Like for instance, like a Chevy van, when you're trying to hit up that top section, where the windows would be. It doesn't really lay in there really well. You gotta post heat the shit out of it.
Right. Which you should be doing anyway.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Cause I'll say I have gotten, so we have a few people that I've like subcontracted out to, and they've said something of like, oh, we don't like the Arlon because it, I don't know, makes us have to do our job. But,
well, I mean,
like with the post heating and all that, or having to put some adhesive promoter and those
Oof.
deep recesses.
Yeah. That never works.
So it's just, yeah, it's one of those that's, well, I don't know. I came from the lawn care industry before, wrapping cars. So I have to try to mitigate, like, are they complaining or is it actually a problem?
Right. I mean, it's a different technique for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot lesser, initial tack. I think Avery's got a pretty low tack film, and that's from me just coming from using 3M where, I could really heat it really well to get it nice and then just squeegee it and I'm good to go. Avery, I've had to do a little bit more of a harder squeegee strokes and it's a little bit different technique, but I've heard that the Arlon is even less tackier than that and that you really got to hit it hard and then you got to post heat it right away, I believe. You can't let it sit. I think you got to post heat it as soon as it's on. But then again, I've used it once. It was all right, but then again, like I've heard nightmares on the removal, and we had one of the Grimco techs come in, and they wanted to sell us their Grimco brand, which is I heard is a variation of the Arlon material. I don't know if it's within the same price point, but I've heard their product too is pretty similar as far as their technology and the way their pattern is, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. I like sticking to, the normal brands at 3M, Orfold, Avery, Arlon for certain things, I would say. But yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah, we definitely stick to our 3M, I think, primarily. But like I said, on some of the box trucks and stuff, when it's a decently competitive market when it comes to box trucks and vans. So the Arlon helps us be able to bring that down just a little bit more. I personally, I wrap with both 3M and Arlon, which seem to be on two different ends of the spectrum. And I can deal with either or. It doesn't really bother my install much. So
yeah. It's good. Given that your tech, your Feller's representative, offered that must be something that a lot of people in your location are purchasing to keep the prices down and in order to get the jobs. Seems like.
Yeah. The one thing that sold me when he said it is he said everybody that I've referred to Arlon hasn't stopped buying it since. So I'm like, well, that says enough for itself. So we'll go ahead and order a roll. And sure enough, I haven't stopped buying it since. So
that's cool. Yeah. You got to do what you got to do sometimes as far as, using different brands in order to keep your price point, decent. You can, if you're a 3M certified shop or a 3M certified installer, obviously you want to go 3M because that's where your certification's at and you can uphold the warranty and all that stuff using that.
Right.
But
so that may change if, so that's actually a certification that I am pursuing is the 3M certification.
Nice.
I'm not too terribly far along. All I've completed thus far is just the basic training.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do the advanced training, like the next step actually in their headquarters.
Okay.
I don't want to really do like a satellite location.
Yeah.
Cause if I'm going to spend the money, might as well
do it the
right way and get to see their headquarters, which I'm sure is pretty cool. So
yeah, that would be nice. That way you can kind of see the whole thing and you get it right from the source up in Minnesota, right?
Yeah. St. Paul.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, that should be good. Is there more? So you've only done the 3M training, since you've started. You haven't done any other training classes?
No. So, and I just took that basic training course maybe 2 months ago.
Oh, really? So it's new.
Yeah. So I guess we can get into it a little bit since we're on the podcast form. But,
Yeah.
so when I bought the place, the guy I bought the place from, it was in the contract and everything, was supposed to stay on for like, I don't know, it was like 6 months, like long enough that he should be able to teach me the whole industry. And within 3 weeks was completely gone, not a resource. And if anything was trying to hinder my business and anything else.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a headache. Ended up having like lawyer invoices every month for like 18 months.
What? For what?
I guess, again, I don't want to say too much. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, not allowed to say, but, he more or less sold it, tried to take, cause he seller financed it, was more or less trying to take my deposit in the first month. And then after 30 days, pretty much show that I failed, broke the contract, and then he would take the company back, and then he would get a quick
Flip on
$20,000.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm pretty positive his impression on me that I was some rich kid with daddy's money. So he didn't think I was going to fight, and I'm not the type to lay down. So I fought him for the next 18 months until we finally caught him, selling against me, like breach of contract, because he had a non-compete and everything. So he was actually trying to poach my clients that I had bought. And when we caught him doing that, he pretty much signed everything over and walked away. So,
wow. But you had to put that expense up for lawyers and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm still paying off expenses from those 18 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a tough go. I mean, shoot, I'm 23, so
wow.
I would say I'm glad to learn that lesson now and not when I'm 40 something.
For sure. What do you think you would have done different? You know, looking at it, hindsight now, and how you went about, you know, purchasing the business and everything. What do you think you would have done differently?
Yeah. So two things. One, very obvious. Doesn't matter what happens, read the contract when you're at the notary, like before they're about to sign it. Like make sure that the contract you read
on the computer.
Make sure the contract that you read on the computer is the same contract that was printed out and signed at the notary.
Wow.
Cause there were just a few small changes, that were made in the contract that, like, I mean, a matter of like 3 or 4 words that completely changed the contract around. Like one of them being interest was supposed to be like annually interest, was turned to per month, which is a huge change when you're supposed to be paying 10% yearly and it's 10% a month.
Oh.
And then another one is in the sales part of the contract, it, like 3 or 4 words were added at the end, basically saying that like all prospects were supposed to be sent to him. So I wasn't allowed to sell, which means he got his commission on everything that came through the door. I was handicapped.
Wow.
Obviously fighting those few points for 18 months was pretty difficult.
Those were things changed prior to, you going in with the notary, just thinking, oh, hey, it's the same contract. We're just going to go in, sign my name. He's going to sign.
Exactly. Cause it didn't go to like from 3 or 4 pages to like 6.
Right.
Like, I mean, it was just a matter of 3 or 4 words added at the end of paragraphs that didn't even change the format of the page.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't think of, okay, I just read this, emailed it over to make sure he was okay with it 12 hours ago, like 9 o'clock at night. And by 9 in the morning, the thing's printed out and we're going to get it notarized. So I didn't think, I should probably read it one last time and make sure it's what I read last night. Yeah. So that number one lesson learned.
He knew what he was doing though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not the first rodeo that it seems like it hasn't been the first rodeo where he's, for lack of a better word, scammed somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Given that you are younger in age, he probably just thought you'd be oblivious, which you were. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I would have never thought, listen, if I'm buying a business, this dude's got to be legit. He ain't gonna, I wouldn't even have thought to even read over the thing before you notarize it.
Yeah.
I thought attorneys would be involved with something like that, some type of transaction.
So I had an attorney draw it up, like wrote it, sent it to me. I read it and was like, perfect. Emailed it to him. He read it, called me, said, this is perfect. I'll print it out and we'll meet at 9 a.m. Cool. So met at 9 a.m, signed the thing. Obviously didn't think, oh, I should probably read it to make sure that him saying it's cool doesn't mean he's changing stuff.
Oh, so he didn't even draw it out. Your attorney drew it out and he made slight changes to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So make sure if you send an agreement over, you don't do it through Google Doc that they can
make changes.
Make changes. So again, that's just young, naive, and I guess overly eager. Is kind of something I learned is just don't force a deal that shouldn't be made. I mean, the guy had my trust. I owned a lawn care company before this, so he did all of my trucks. It's not like this was just some guy I saw on Craigslist. Like I'd done business with him for several years before I bought the place. So, just a little too much trust and poor judgment of character. I mean, in hindsight, looking back, I should have seen some character flaws that I didn't. I was just blinded by, I don't know, the next new thing that was shiny.
Right.
Yeah. And I just didn't. Like I said, looking back, I see all of the flaws I missed of just kind of like some character traits or something that he had said in passing that was slightly shady or not morally correct. And I just kind of ignored it because I thought getting into the wrap shop on this deal was going to be the best thing in the world. And then, I ate it for 18 months. But anyway, now I don't know what he's up to now. We don't obviously talk, but,
is he still local to you?
I believe so, but again, I'm not really sure. I know in our final agreement, he's not allowed to sell wraps anymore, but I'm pretty sure he works for like a national company selling like, I don't know, a laundry list of 20 items and wraps happens to be on there. But I haven't gotten any feedback from any clients of like, a lot of my clients like love me. So like if they were being poached, they would tell me.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything. So it's just kind of, you got to be the bigger man. I understand that wraps is all he's known for the past 15 or 20 years. So I'm not going to, for the sake of his kids, I'm not going to go after him because he's selling wraps. He's got to feed his kids. But,
right.
It's just, it's water under the bridge. Kind of the same thing with at the beginning of the talk when it's just a matter of evaluating is 6 minutes worth buying a new laminator or not. It's just, is going after him really worth my time or not? And it's not. So.
Wow. Unreal.
Yeah, but here we are now. I'm running a pretty successful business. We actually just remodeled the whole place and through a grand reopening, went from, it was just him in here. So when I bought it, it was then just me in here. Ended up living here for like 9 months. I'm pretty sure that's not the code. So hopefully
nobody's listening.
Hopefully nobody too important is listening, but I'm out now. I don't live here anymore.
That's awesome. Do you have a TV, little like futon set up?
Yeah, so we had this giant table that was like the kitchen, basically. The fridge and all that was set up next to it.
Yeah.
So I set it up because my shop is like one big open rectangle. You can see the back of the shop from the front door. So I had it set up in a way that it was kind of making a wall, and my futon was on the back side of it. So you never saw the futon unless you went all the way through and out the back door.
Wow.
But yeah, I lived in that. We had a little utility closet that now holds all of our supplies and stuff, but had a little rollout closet and showered at my gym. Yeah, I mean,
there you go.
As I said before, I don't think he was expecting me to put up a fight, and I pretty much gave up everything and did everything I could to succeed, which, knock on wood,
turned out.
Still obviously hustling and trying to succeed, but I would say it came a long way from where I was at
Well,
I mean, shoot.
Well, you're out of the woods
so,
with that nonsense. You know, running a business has its own ups and downs. You know, that's that's normal, whether you started from scratch or you bought the business, but dealing with that other extra bullshit is just unnecessary. You know what I mean? That's a very big kind of like burden that was on you for a while. And now that you're out of the woods with that nonsense, now you're dealing and putting your mindset into the daily bullshit you got to deal with the business, you know?
Yeah, but I love it. I mean, I didn't realize it's June 17th. So on June 1st is the first day of my lease. Not obviously 16 days ago, but 1 year ago was when I moved out and signed the lease into the house that we rent now.
Wow.
My girlfriend and I. So my girlfriend was in Auburn, Alabama in school. So she wasn't up here, but she was obviously on the phone and hearing me go through some rough times. But she left school to come up, and she was like, all right, I'll come up. And she actually works with me now. So she's kind of the general manager more than anything else, and partner in the business with me. But she came up, she's like, all right, I'll come up and help you run the business on one condition, and that being I am not living at that shop. So yeah, that was about 1 year ago today, when we moved out. And at that time, I mean, I had a lot of work, but I was still struggling to do it all and still try to manage one full wrap a week and still do the small stuff. And now it's getting one full wrap a week is almost easy, where my goal is to try to land 3 a week at this point. So
yeah, that's great. And it's only you and her for right now, right?
So it was me and her up until I think about a month ago. I started hiring.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was doing was running them through a trial period of, they would come in, and for like their first 60 hours, they were more or less, we're going to see if this works out.
Mm-hmm.
So I interviewed 6, 4 of them actually got like a trial period offer. 3 of them were let go within their first 4 days. And the one girl that had made it actually just signed today, like her official appointment paperwork, and got her, we'll call it her welcome box, where we bought her own squeegee, her own knife, her own, paint is dead wrap glove, like bought her own set of wrap tools. So she actually got that this morning, was her, sign on day.
Wow. That's amazing. So so she's going to be just installing.
Yeah. So that's what we're training her on. By all means, she's not wrapping Mustangs yet, but she's also only about 10 days in. But she's, at least for like right now, I'm looking at a town and country that we're wrapping, and I mean, she did both the doors, the side skirts, the front fenders, and the hood on the thing. I've done the rear quarter on one side, and we'll actually have her do the rear quarter on the other, and kind of be my shadow on the bumpers to finish this thing up.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's picking up very quickly. We'll say that.
Good. Yeah. It's always good to have like a greenhorn in there where they can learn. And as you know, the prep is what takes the most. I think the preparation of getting the vehicle cleaned, ready to go, alcohol wiped, prior to wrapping is the most tiring thing of the whole job. Yeah,
no, and that's, she actually picked up on that and does very well. She does a very good clean and prep.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, I actually am, so I'm really big into my systems, and I'm always tweaking my systems to try to make them more efficient and better to push people along. I mean, with my lawn care company, I literally had my new hires watch videos that I made on how we weed eat, how we blow off, and how we mow grass.
Wow.
Then they went out in the yard with a trainer to make sure they understood, and then they got evaluated at the end of the day to make sure that they understand. Right. So I'm very big on those systems. So I went, like, my lawn care guys used to shadow people for 2 weeks before they were good enough to step on my properties. And I got it all the way down into one work day. were either up to par or they pretty much fired themselves because they knew they couldn't keep up.
Wow.
And I'm building that with the wraps right now too, which is, like I said, I went from 6 interviews. I know what I'm looking for. Out of those 6, I offered, trial periods to 4. 3 of the 4 didn't even last 3 days because I'm very particular on what I'm looking for and trying to hammer out those systems, kind of weed out the people that aren't going to work long term pretty quickly. So yeah, she's picking up well, and that's kind of how it took her, I guess, a couple days to get to actually wrapping, is because first you're going to learn how to weed at the prep table because you need to know how to use that knife.
Right.
Secondly, you're going to put mask on it because you need to know how to use the squeegee to put mask on it. I actually have my trial period people put up a piece of 2-inch painter's tape on the wall, and they just squeegee back and forth. They'll do like 50 passes with the left hand, 50 passes with the right hand, just so they muscle memory to do that 30 degree angle and a straight line.
I saw your video online on Instagram. I'm like, why is he squeegeeing like masking tape on the wall? I did not. I'm like, there's gotta be some type of madness thing going on here.
Yeah. So he was in his that part of the training comes in about the end of day 1 or the start of day 2, and I think he was on day 2. So yeah, wow. He was on the wall, and I've actually added to that since. So now I have a piece of tape going horizontally and vertically, because when we do cut graphics and we cut the backing paper and pull from left to right, then you need to know how to do that left to right as well.
Right.
Or different applications. So yeah, and again, that's what I'm talking about, where I build a system and then I tweak it. So he was one of the first of those 4. But by the 3rd and 4th of those 4 people that kind of went through a trial period, they were doing vertical passes as well to get that kind of muscle memory in.
Wow.
And if I start seeing them squeegee, say they're squeegeeing the door and they just get way too far ahead of themselves on the left side and then it all wrinkles up on the right side and they're messing up, I immediately will pop it up, give them one warning. And if they start to do it again, all right, back on the wall. You're not doing it right.
Mr. Miyagi.
Pretty much. I mean, it's just, I feel there could be systems built to pretty much anything. You just gotta keep tweaking them. So.
Yeah. I mean, with the amount of training that's out there now, regularly available, than it has been in the years. I mean, God, back in 2008, 9, 10, maybe like a couple. Now there's mobile trailers that 3M has that will just come through a whole state and set up shop outside. And, you know, you got the elite guys that, you know, travel all over to shop and kind of you just, you know, sign up at your own will if they're there at your location. And, it's just insane. It's just taking little pieces of all that and introducing it into your own in-house stuff to either freshen up on things or, you know, you do have an apprentice, sort of say, in your shop. So to get them to use certain techniques. And the thing is, it's getting them to get, adequate with the correct techniques. Cause once they would learn bad habits, it's hard to get them to stop those bad habits because the muscle memory is already built off of that.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree completely. I actually have to give some credit to, and I might mispronounce his last name a little bit, but Phil, Aquin.
Yep.
And he was actually one of the guys that were at my basic training course that, they actually had like a little fancy sheet of doing that squeegee technique. So that the tape idea actually was like birthed off of his little part on the, basic training course. And he was really big. He was really big on growing some fundamentals and stuff like that. And I immediately started incorporating it. So yeah, picking up little pieces here and there and building the systems. I can't wait till the wrap industry has, or maybe they already have, maybe you know more than I do, when they start having like trade schools or something about it, to where it's not just a 1 day or a weekend course, it's actually a couple weeks or more of learning how to wrap, I think that will kind of explode the industry at that point.
Yeah, I think trade schools are going to be great. There are a few out there that have introduced the application of the industry into a vocational schooling. I believe there's one in Colorado. There's one in California, and there's actually one here in Massachusetts as well that they've incorporated the wrap industry into the vocational criteria. So it's basically getting high school kids that, want to learn a trade but don't know what they want to get into, and they're learning how to get files set up, print on these machines, laminate in these machines, weed tape, apply, basically everything you can think of, sign shop, wraps, custom graphics, dual lettering, how to measure off cars, how to look for body lines. They're introducing this into it, which is great, but the problem is they're in high school. So they're graduating at 17, 18, which at the end of the day, they still are young. They're going to make a lot of crazy mistakes.
That makes sense.
Not just mistakes, not only just mistakes in their career, but, just, you're still finding yourself at that age. You don't know what you want to do. Not everybody knows, and not saying that not everybody doesn't know what they want to do, but there are some that might. And basically to come out of high school at 17, 18 and being able to make, $15, $18 an hour, if you come out like off the gate, like already knowing how to apply a wrap,
right?
That's a great career, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure it'll start making a lot of people in the industries their butthole pucker a little bit with that many people learning their industry.
Yeah. I mean,
because competition's going to grow pretty quickly, but I think I'm pretty excited for it.
We already got that though, if you think about it. The competition, the DIY guys in the garage.
Yeah.
We already got a lot of that happening as it is now.
Right.
I'm just hoping the people that come out of those scenarios build their own brands and do it the right way. And, we all have to start somewhere, not that, buying a business, is, a path for everybody, or starting your own business. As you know, I'm sure you started the lawn care business from scratch probably, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I started, the first yard I ever mowed was for money because my mom liked the exercise too much, so she wouldn't let me mow her own grass, but I put flyers out and ended up pushing the mower up a few blocks up or a few houses up the street. And that was my first time ever mowing grass, was for my first client.
Wow. That's amazing.
And then ended up growing it. It wasn't huge by any means. I think I had like 120 clients when I eventually decided to get rid of it and go full time into wrapping.
Wow. So you end up selling the business and then buying into the wrap industry.
Well, so I bought into the wrap industry first, ran both of them for, I guess just about 2 years. And then, just at the end of last season, actually got rid of the lawn care company at that point. I was like surviving off of the very small margins of mowing grass, during the whole ordeal because of, like I said, I mean, paying the lawyers, and then by all means the sales weren't there. It's not like it was just people are knocking at my door trying to hand me money. So, it was just a lot to manage. Lawn care in general is a lot to manage. So
right.
I wasn't even able to open the doors up here for a lot of the time because I had guys that wouldn't show up. So I'd have to go mow the grass, and there were clients that were,
bills.
yeah. Yeah, there were clients that were paying the bills, so I can't just tell the people I'm going to mow their grass later because
Right.
I'm trying to get a wrap shop off the ground. I had to go mow their grass so that I could get paid to keep the wrap shop lights on.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, I didn't just have a giant bank account to go off of. It was every day was a fight to see whether I was going to eat a meal, skip a meal, eat ramen, or be able to buy dog food. Cause I had a black lab at the time that there was several days that I like made her eggs in the morning because I didn't have the $50 to go buy a bag of dog food. I just couldn't afford it for a day or two until a client paid.
Wow.
Yeah, wasn't the brightest of my times in business, but it humbles you real quick. So.
Oh, dude, you're telling me, man. For sure humbles you. And sometimes those are the best types of stories. You know, you gotta walk through a little bit of mud and you gotta kind of pave your own way. But at the end of the day, it's so much sweeter when you get to, reap the benefits of, you know, your time that you put into it, where it is a successful business and you're making profits and you're making money and you don't have to stress out, you know, as much. I mean, you're going to stress out, but not as much. And you're able to buy dog food. You're able to eat today.
Yeah.
It's, you're not living off Snickers and Gatorades or water for the day, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, like a year ago, I was living at my shop, and now looking where I'm at now, we actually, so my girlfriend Tanner, which honestly, I mean, we're high school sweethearts, so I feel like even calling her a girlfriend at this point is kind of an insult. But, anyway, she's super environmental, like wants to own her own dog shelter and all that. And just like 2 weekends ago, we took on 2 more foster dogs. So we have 2 foster dogs, 2 dogs of our own and a cat of our own. And I mean, they're all eating well. I mean, they're eating wet food, paying for their vet bills. We just got hit with a $600 vet bill when we picked them up, because the people that we rescued them from couldn't afford them, and they weren't being treated the best. They actually were in a dog fight, and that's kind of what made us get the call to come get them.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's, like I said, I mean, just a little over a year ago, I'm like making scrambled eggs for my dog, and now we're paying $600 vet bills to foster 2. So it's been a big change, but I mean, I contribute a lot to just focus. Getting rid of the lawn care was the best thing I could have done to focus on this industry, because it is huge. And I think out of me and the 5 people in my area where I'm actually competing against, there's not enough people out there to get all the work done in my market. So been blessed.
Which is good. Yeah. I mean, there's enough work for everybody, and, you know, friendly competition's always good to figure out who got the contract deal or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, when you got smaller shops or, you know, not so much saturation near you, and you're all able to reap the benefits of the market, it's such a great thing. And do you get along with a lot of the other shops near you? Do you network with them at all as well?
Yeah. So I try to network with the other shops as much as I can, and I am pretty friendly with all of the shops that are friendly in general.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, there's a few more that I actually want to walk in and kind of shake hands, get to know the owner a little bit. But yeah, we're for the most part pretty friendly. Obviously we're in competition, but friendly competition, and I'm pretty good at referring. So I actually, dropped signs out of my, I guess, product book altogether. Because when I bought the place, he did like signs too. He tried to do so much. It was just kind of, I'm more of like a pick 3 or 4 products that all complement each other and dial in.
Yeah.
So got rid of signs and then started networking with a bunch of the sign shops. And that's been a great relationship. I mean, I pass sign referrals. I pass sign referrals like 1 or 2 a week. And then I get referrals from sign shops at least once a week.
For the wraps.
Yeah, because they don't, they might do graphics on doors, but they don't do wraps. And I'm like, I can respect that. Like, don't feel like we're in competition because you also do door slaps.
Right.
But yeah, there's several shops that we're pretty friendly with. I used to refer all of my like motorcycle tanks or like helmet wrap requests that I got.
Mm-hmm.
I used to refer all of those to some of the shops that are around me that I knew had been around longer because I wasn't confident doing it myself. So it's just kind of like, yeah, I know you're my competition, and shoot, you might end up taking this guy's job when he has a full wrap, but I just don't feel right telling him, no, sorry, can't do it. And I don't know anybody that will. It just, I don't know. Play friendly in the sandbox, pass the referral if you have it.
That's it. And at the end of the day, it's knowing your limitations. You know, if, like I said, if you don't feel comfortable, do it. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Because the as far as like doing it and then risking it failing or something really bad happening to it or whatnot, it's not even worth the bad negative conversation you're going to have with the client. Then just be like, hey, I'm confident that I am not your guy for this job, but so-and-so down the street might be a better candidate. You know, I'll give them the referral, you know. Yeah.
And then I have, there's actually a couple of shops too that don't have the printers, but they'll sell a commercial job here and there. And I'll print for them. Like I mean, the respect's there. Obviously I'm printing the wrap for their client. I know who their client is and their phone number and everything because it's all over the van.
Right.
But the respect's there. It's just, no, I'll print the job. Here you go. You don't have to worry about me ever once trying to poach your clients because it's just, I mean, I'm not struggling to eat and I understand that friendship. And on the flip side to that, like I said, I mean, I'm operating at a relatively small spot right now. So when I start getting 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks out, clients aren't really too kind of that. So, I'll actually start subbing to the shops that are right down the street from me. If they happen to be slower than I am, I'm like, hey, I have this wrap. Can you do it in 2 weeks? I'm okay with making a much smaller part of the pie, but satisfying the client and getting the job done. So
yeah, getting a piece is better than not getting or picking up the crumbs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I actually, so this is, I guess if this goes out next Monday, so a week from the release of this podcast, I actually plan on separating my business a little bit with one of the local shops that I used to sub to. They want to solely do color change. My background in business and networking with business owners, I really like the commercial side of the industry. Mm-hmm. So we're actually going to do a little bit of a partnership where I'm going to run the commercial side of the industry and we're going to do a spin off of performance I would say probably by the end of the year, first of next year, actually have another location that just focuses on the color change with this kind of key guy being the partner that runs that location.
That's amazing, dude.
So we can, there's enough work in both sides of the industry, and I don't know if your shop does both or not, but they're similar, but they're far enough apart that they really could be two different companies altogether that deal with the commercial side versus the color change guys.
Oh, 100%. I mean, not that both installers couldn't do the job, but when you're so mainstreamed, focused on commercial, and the way of installing is completely different than, just a color change in general. It's just a lot more in depth. You've got to really get in the zone when it's a color change. You really have to plan out, how you're going to install it and what you're going to start off and how you're going to end, and seams and overlays. And there's a lot of prep that goes on with the color change. But when you get to the commercial, it's like, van, we're going to do it horizontal. We're going to have 2 panels here, 1 panel here, boom, 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 done. It's very straightforward, almost cookie cutter, and it's, you know, and generally you're working on the same vehicles all the time. It's either small Transit Connect or a van. It's just so uniform.
Yeah, the Chevy Express vans, box trucks, and Transits are pretty much all day long.
Right.
Every day, all day long. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously with the commercial, there's a lot more before the vehicle even gets here, because you got to go through all the design approvals.
Right.
Get all of those set up, and then you got to run your paneling, think about your matchups from the install standpoint. Still obviously clean and break down the car, but there's a little less clean and breaking down the car than a color change. But color change is pick your color, buy the roll, and start breaking the car down. So it's, I agree that a good installer would be able to very easily do both, or should be able to do both. But it is a little bit different, because on a color change, you just you'll line up the color, obviously. You can heat it, do whatever you need to do to it, and you don't have to worry too much. But on a commercial, if you're heating a certain spot and it drops your right side of the panel a half an inch, well, now your matchups might be wrong. And you have to be cautious, you have to be thinking about that before you even think about putting heat on a commercial wrap of, all right, if I'm on panel 1 of 8, how's this little pop of heat right here going to mess me up on panel 7?
Oh my God. Or even just the next panel. It's just, if you stretch one, it's literally, you got to stretch the rest of them to compensate for it. And if you're crooked, oh my God, crooked on one panel on 8-panel truck, half an inch could be 5 inches by the time you get to the last panel, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
You gotta work. I almost feel like the commercial game is definitely a lot harder. There are people that can do color changes that can't do commercial wraps. They just can't figure out how to properly line it up. You know? I
would agree with that. I think they're really two different animals, but I would agree that there's a lot more, and maybe I'm saying the wrong term. So don't blow me up on social media and tell me I'm
you're gonna get all the haters. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot more mental game to a commercial. You really have to think back of okay, you have to think about where all these placements are going to hit. You can't just grab a panel, throw it up, and go.
Right.
You got to line up those 8 panels before you throw down the first one and make sure all your matchups are going to hit. Because like you said, if you're just a quarter of an inch off or something like that, I mean, 4, 5, 10 feet down the vehicle, I mean, your text is off the car. It's in the window or off the top of the truck.
Right. I mean, that's got to go. That's gotta be part of your production too. You have to be able to, correspond with the designer. If you have a designer that's separate with they have to talk together. The installer needs to talk to the designer. It's, hey, use this straight side of the box truck as my straight piece. No bleed here. I'm going to go straight here. And if I'm straight on panel 1 on this trim, I should be straight all the way through. Just give me a half an inch bleed at the top to give me some play, and give me 3 inches at the bottom, just in case I gotta move it. And but giving me that cut on that first panel, straight up and down, and starting that panel off perfectly, you're gonna be cruising all the way through. But you get a panel, and sometimes you can't correspond with the designer. Sometimes they're just going to give you a 2-inch or 3-inch bleed on your first panel off of the straight line. So it's either you know that there's going to be a bleed, and now you're fussing with the first panel, trying to make sure you're 2 inches at the top bleed, you're 2 inches at the bottom. It's you're working like an asshole because it's up and down the ladder. Check, check. Before you even stick anything on, it's just up and down. It sucks. But when you have that first panel cut, boom, you get up to the top, you can visually see that it's running straight down that trim. And you're like, okay, I'm good. Hinge it at the top, roll it back up, you know what I mean? And just slapping it down. It's the difference of being done in 4 hours as opposed to being done in 6.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
those
I agree.
little stupid things that tack on time that just would drive me crazy. And today, for instance, like today, right? We have this new client. It's an energy company. They had this yellow stripe with this green bottom. It's just a yellow stripe across this green bottom. So on the Transit Connects on the back, you've got that little hard body line underneath the handle, and then you've got that little recessed area on the left portion of the back door where the license plate goes. Well, I took that plastic piece out, and the way they designed it was the stripe went from left to right. Above that, just like it actually goes into it, and then it's like solid green below that. So it's about 16 inches total, 17 inches total. And I've got text at the bottom, URL and phone number. So I'm thinking, dude, there's no way that line's going to stay straight when I start pushing it into that recessed area where the license plate's at. Because even though it dies in to where that plastic piece covers it, like if I don't have a straight line at the top because it's a print cut, if I don't have a straight line at the top and it gets wavy, I'm fucked. And I have to keep that straight, and I have to keep the text at the bottom. The text wasn't print cut, and if I would have done it again, I would have asked for the text to be print cut, so I wouldn't have to worry about it. And I would have done the yellow stripe and the green section, which is the main body color of the print. I would have done those 2 separate pieces too. A matter of me spending 1 hour installing that, I would have probably taken 25 minutes to do the whole thing. Because I wouldn't have to worry about straight lines, you know? Yeah,
that makes sense. We actually just wrapped a Corvette Z06, and it was like a commercial wrap on a Z06.
Damn.
But, so I know enough about design to like be dangerous, but when it gets to a little elaborate design, I have some freelancers I'll sub out to.
Nice.
But so I subbed out to a designer and got it back, and I looked at the proof, and I'm like, okay, I need don't send me like print files or anything, like don't send me anything flat, because he had text going over on the Z06 where the rear quarter and the rear bumper like overlap. He had like text going across that body line.
Ooh.
And I'm like, okay, there's no way. I mean, you could throw me a paint is dead wrapper. There's no way that matchup is happening.
Yeah.
And there was like 1 or 2 other ones like that. I'm like, okay, I need your original file, because I'm just printing the green to wrap the bumper, and I'll put the
print cut over
print
it.
cut. Yeah. I'll do print cut on top of it, which is the luxury between how I have it set up, because I'm an installer first, but I understand how to run the printers. So I can see that from the proof. I'm like, okay, there's no way that that's going to be printed in a sheet and matched up over a bumper to a rear quarter panel on a Corvette. I mean, that's just not happening.
Yeah, it's basically working smarter, not harder. I mean, a wrap is a wrap, but at the end of the day, doing overlays all day, I'm okay with that. I mean, you don't have to go crazy with the overlays, but when you've got really heavy registration on certain things and something's got to hit exactly where it needs to hit, and you know the likelihood, or not even the likelihood, because anybody that's focused will do it. Because today I did it. It took me an hour. I did it. It was fine. Great. I nailed it. But was I happy with it that it took me an hour? No. I could have done something else. I could have gotten something else done as well on the side of the van, or I could have done the panel on the above, you know, in that window section. I would have had the back done, and I spent 1 hour just doing this one piece. That was it. So, you know, at the end of the day, do an overlay with some really heavy registration, just fucking do it. Just don't even stress yourself out. And people always say, oh, it's not really a wrap because it's not printed on the material, one sheet. Fuck off, dude. Who cares? Yeah. You know what I mean? Who cares about that?
Yeah.
Does it look good when it drives by? Cool. Can you tell it's fucking 2 pieces? No. All right. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because in my shop, I like just rule of thumb of like on commercial of like my, I guess, grace is like 1/8 of an inch. So if you wrap the side of a van and from the back of the van to the front of the van, it is off by 1/8 of an inch, it's passable. If it's over that, then we need to redo something and fix it. But I always kind of tell my people, like, 1/8 of an inch is that's our limit. If it's over if it's 1/8 of an inch or less, and a customer comes in and like measures that to like call you out on it, then like we'll tell that customer to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
come on.
Yeah, because at that point it's like, all right, kind of same thing with the registration. Like if a client came in and was like upset that I went over from a bumper to a rear quarter panel and decided to do an overlay instead of trying to match that up. Yeah, just kind of like get out of here.
Well, if
I known you were going to be like that, you should have told me that before I gave you a price.
It's reading the client off the bat. Yeah. That's a tough read sometimes. Sometimes the clients, they fool you. They come in, they're like, yeah, just do it. Looks great. However, whatever you have to do to get the job done, it's great. And then you do it, and then they ask us, why didn't you do it in one piece? You couldn't do it in one piece? No, I didn't want to work like a fucking asshole. Thanks. Yeah.
My favorite is, whatever you think looks best.
Oh, Jesus.
I've been burned way too many times on that one.
Famous words. Nope, you better sign your life away right here. Cause I don't put nothing on based on what I like. Whatever looks the best. No. This is not how it works. This isn't fucking a grocery store where you just get what you get. No. This is custom right here. It's just, you pay the custom price, and whatever you want that's custom is what I'll put on. But whatever looks best, no. I don't know. I haven't known you that long.
Exactly.
You know.
I'll design it however I think looks best, but you're going to be checking that green box saying that you approve my design before I do print anything.
Oh, dude, have you ever had a client go through the whole spiel, approve the final, approve the artwork, approve the color samples, everything, got the job done, look at it, and they fucking hate it on the car?
Yeah. So one particular spot that honestly decent, like somewhat recently, and again, I've been burned before from like basically a client doing this. So every time I get burned or a mistake happens, it's like I sit down with Tanner. I'm like, all right, what system needs to be put in place so that never happens again? What paperwork? What do we need to do?
Right.
But one in particular was exactly what you're talking about, of getting proof approvals and all of that, not just, I think it looks good over the phone, like making sure everything's in email, in text, they're approving a proof, and then that proof is then gold, like that gets printed and passed around the shop. It better look just like it.
Mm-hmm.
But one in particular was a client came in, she wanted window perf, with her company logo on the back of her truck. We told her, oh, here's our perf rolls, like right here in the showroom, basically. We'll print your logo on that, and we'll get it going. She didn't have a vector logo, which is pretty normal. So she sent the logo over to us in a Microsoft Word document.
Nice.
In a little square of what she thinks she wanted, like on her back window, just her logo on a white square. Redesigned her logo for her, like sent her the vector, like she paid for it. So here's your vector file. Put it onto her vehicle from, like, we use Pro Vehicle Outlines.
Mm-hmm.
Put it onto her vehicle, again, with white in the background, and her logo. Sent it over to her. She approved it. Then we got working on it, and she came up, she goes, oh, I was expecting the perf to be black.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you just thought we were talking about inverted colors this whole time?
No
like,
shit.
what? Yeah, she wanted her logo to be white and the perf to be mainly black in the background. And I'm like, not once did you mention that. Not once did we say that we were doing that. And not either of the proofs, the one you sent us or the one we sent you back, said it.
Wow.
Or showed it. So yeah, that was one decently recent. That was just kind of like, I really don't understand how we could have made that any more clear.
Customer's always right though.
Yeah. So we ended up, we had to argue with her a little bit, but we ended up just charging her just cost. Like, we're like, look, we're not going to make a big margin off the fix because ultimately we want every customer to be happy.
Right.
But I'm also not going to eat the job because I did everything that I could do right, basically. So she agreed and ended up just paying what our like raw cost was to get it fixed and redone for her.
Wow.
But yeah, I've had them. They're definitely annoying, especially when you look back at all your email chains and all the approvals. And it's like, I mean, at what point did you telecommunicate or telepathize with what you,
right.
what you were wanting? Because it is not in any of this writing.
Dude, it's no matter what, it's always like I have them sign the contract with the pricing that specifies exactly what they're getting. And especially if they're a new client, we always do I always like to do a full rendering proof of the vehicle. So we take the Pro Vehicle Outlines template, we'll design it, ready to go. We'll put it into our custom template that we have with, our header, color proofs on the bottom with those squares.
Okay.
And it's probably like, I don't know, maybe 11 by 17 inch proof.
Okay.
Printed on the exact media, laminated with the exact laminate. Like, there is the way it looks out in the shop, the way it looks outside, it's the same way what your car's going to look like. This is like to a T. It actually breaks down the media that we use, the laminate that we use, the printer that it came off of. So that way when we go back, we know we printed it off.
Yeah, you make sure you do it off of all the same equipment.
Exactly. Yeah, because we've got 2 HPs and then we have 2 Epson. So, and honestly, between the 2 HPs, they both print a little different sometimes too. So,
yeah,
as we all know.
So are they like approving that when they drop off the vehicle?
No.
Like, I'm just trying to think efficiency wise.
Okay. Yeah, this is the whole system. So let's just say, for instance, I just got a new client. This new client came in. They came in with three vehicles.
Okay.
They've got a Transit. It's a print cut partial, Ford F-150 print cut partial, same design, just 2 different cars. And then they have an F-250 that's silver. We're doing a full wrap to make it white with the print cut to make it look like the other 2, basically.
Yeah.
So what we did was, because it's a new client, send them the quote. Quote needs to be approved. I need a signature signed off on that. Great. Once that's done, we get a deposit. Once the deposit's set, that's when the design phase starts. So we take, it was kind of a weird circumstance because there was a marketing company involved. So they already sent us the concept, but they didn't have everything to scale. So we had to profile everything to scale the way we need it. Get that done. Once that's created, then we do the print color proof. But sometimes it's more than others, as far as like the color palette. This was that green and yellow, design I was just talking about the stripe. So, in oddly enough, they had PMS colors. So we were able to take their PMS colors, spot color it in the RIP software. Boom.
Yeah.
Had it all ready to go. Laminate it. They come and pick it up. They bring it back to their shop. Whoever needs to approve it, look at it, whether it's the owner or multiple owners or investor, whoever. They can either send me a text message with the sign off on the color sample proof. I make them just sign on it.
Okay, like with Sharpie or something.
Yeah. Either if I'm there, I usually give them a copy and I'll keep the other copy, the signed copy. Or I let them take it if they have to bring it back. And just have them either email me a photo with it signed off or send me a text with it. And then that will get you into production. Basically, we'll start printing from there. But it's a pretty dummy proof system the way I like to do it. Cause I got burnt once and that's all it took for me to be like, no, sign contracts every time. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like I had one guy tell me I gave him a price for a box truck, like a 16-foot box truck. It was like, I don't know. I don't even know what the amount was. Maybe $2,300, whatever it was, just the box. And he thought he had two, and he had one coming from the dealer, and then he had an older one that was just going to get wrapped. They just had for a while. He thought I told him $2,300 for both. And I'm like, nah, dude. And I went back and I fucked up. I went back and I didn't get the signed contract back from him. So he never signed off on it. But I specifically remember having two quantities at $2,300 or whatever the case may be in price. But dude, I got burnt on the last one because it was like, he's like, yeah, the other one went to the dealership, right? It got rolled into their financing. I was like, yeah. He's like, so I'm already caught. I don't owe you anything. I go, what do you mean you don't owe me nothing? Like, you owe me for the second truck. He goes, nah, you told me X amount of money for both. I'm like, dude, no way. You're out of your mind. You're like delusional. You know what I mean? You're crazy. There's no way I told you that. And then I had to have the awkward conversation with them.
Right. So you're using like, I know one that's, I guess, kind of big out there. So you like using like Shopbox to keep track of all these contracts, or is it like you got a filing cabinet in your office?
No, they get put in folders. As soon as the contracts are set, they get put in a folder. Once the job's done, it's basically trash because we've already done the job. But generally it stays in our email box, basically, at the end of the day. Yeah. Shopbox is cool. I mean, we've talked about different, apps and things like that to use. Is that mainly what you're using, is Shopbox?
So that's, I mean, I started with just like basic QuickBooks, and then recently this year we've gone to Shopbox, but it seems to be pretty cool, but I guess I'll be transparent in that I don't think we're using it to like the best of its capabilities, because we're also trying to learn a software, implement a software while also running a fully operational business. So,
right.
Yeah. So sometimes the training and doing it exactly to its full capabilities kind of gets pushed aside, but I know that they have like obviously quote approval deposits and then like proof approvals. I don't know if they have the thing set up for like the print color proof approvals, but
I like keeping it old school, dude. Honestly, just paper trail sometimes is just better off. Or something. I don't delete my emails. My emails stay in there. So as soon as I type in your name, I'll know right away all my emails, when the date was. I'll find that written proof, within a couple minutes. So that's a big thing. I try not to delete a lot of my like big emails, at least. I mean, maybe in a year from now, maybe I'll delete something, but
kind of do like a yearly cleanup kind of thing.
Yeah, just a little purge at the end of the year. You know what I mean? Just go through all the thousands of emails. But keeping it old school is sometimes just the easiest. I know my boss walked around with a big fat folder full of contracts and different stuff. There's a method to his madness. I don't think I could do that. I kind of like having something on a computer where you can manually see and other people can view it as well. Which is nice, but I don't know. I think the one that I was using was Hub. Was it HubSpot or?
Yeah. That's
a pretty good one.
I haven't used it, but I haven't heard anything bad about it.
Yeah.
That seems to be a pretty good CRM.
It's a very, very user friendly. Like you can pretty much do anything with it.
Yeah.
It's pretty universal. I like it because you can have your email. I think it's your email attached to it. So like when email correspondence gets passed along, it actually saves it in there as well. And you can see,
That's pretty sweet. I don't think Shopbox does that because I'm always having to like copy and paste important emails into the notes of each client.
Yeah. I don't know. I've tried that. I tried Shopbox a while ago. I'm trying this HubSpot one, and honestly, I set it up. I put a few of my jobs in there, and I honestly, to be completely transparent with you, I haven't looked at it in like 3 weeks. That's
about how it goes.
Yeah, dude. You know what it is? It's just like I'm so used to, like, I can check my phone on my email. I'll know exactly what jobs I have open. So it's like,
right.
The correspondence between me and a client is almost on a daily. So I know what's happening, what's going on, and where I am in this particular phase of the job. Yeah. So it's kind of like whatever. You have a different system though, because it's only you, Tanner, and then your newest employee involved in it.
Yeah,
like we've got 9 employees in our main office, so it's like once my hands are washed once the design phase starts. Once the design phase starts, I'm just getting CC'd on the changes, basically.
Okay.
Because
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, because like today alone, I think I sent, or between me and Tanner, I think the shop had sent, 11 estimates today.
Wow.
Or quotes.
Wow.
So, I mean, our like web submissions just to our website are killing it. I mean, we get probably 3 a day.
That's awesome.
So just managing that, I will say Shopbox is pretty sweet because it pretty much notifies you or dings you like, hey, it's been, like I said it, like when I send a quote, I call them like within the next 24 to 48 hours. So it'll ding when I log in saying, hey, you have whatever, 12, 20 people or whatever that you need to follow up with.
Yeah. It's almost like
so I can go through and hammer out all of my, yeah, exactly. So that part of it's pretty nice.
That's cool. That is cool. I like it. The only reason why I didn't like Shopbox and I used it when I was, when I had my own place was I think it was geared more towards like a sign person, because there's so many different, I don't know. It's more, I think it was just more driven towards the sign industry because you can add a lot of, different services in there. I don't think you can accurately do like a vehicle wrap unless you had it built where you knew exactly what your cost was, per square foot, down, and then you figured out you knew exactly how much square feet you were going to use for that particular job.
Right.
I don't think you can accurately give you a price.
We definitely, and again, I'm like tweaking everything every day. Tanner gives me crap about it all the time. She's like, you changed your price on this type of car. What are we doing this? Okay, so now Corvettes have a exemption to the rest of the system. Because it's like we sold that Corvette wrap off of square footage. It only came out to like, I don't know, $2,500 or $2,600. And I'm like, all right, that's way too much work for a $2,500 wrap on a $80,000 car.
Yeah. And it's not even the cost of the car that is driving the cost of the wrap up. It's the level of difficulty.
Yeah, it's the level of difficulty, and then I guess where the cost of the car comes into play a little bit is like on a Chevy Express van, the plastic clips are a lot less expensive than the plastic clips on a Corvette.
Yeah.
Like if you're popping the bumper off and all that to wrap, you break one of those clips, they're not cheap.
Right.
So you have to put that into perspective. I mean, like we're wanting we got a call today actually on man, what was it? It was like a 1965 original Mustang. And he was like, I want to put stripes on it. Is that going to be good on the factory paint from 1965? And I'm like, you're going to be signing a lot of paperwork saying I ain't responsible for crap, but
right.
I will try it if that's what you want.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's
that shit you don't even want to touch.
Yeah. That's what I said. I pretty much told him that. I was like, common sense tells me it should work if your paint is obviously in good condition, but as a shop owner, I'm not signing responsibility for that in any way.
No, you keep that type of shit. You keep factory. Leave it alone. You know,
right.
Let cruise with it on the weekends, like you probably already do, and just leave the goddamn thing alone. Don't put any stripes on it. Come on, stop.
Yeah, no, I agree. But obviously, if we're doing stripes on a 1965 Mustang with original paint, I don't care how much paperwork he signs. I'm not selling that at the same price as a 2019 car. Like, it's going to be more because there's a lot more involved in it.
Oh God, it's like I forget who it was I had on the show. They were talking about how they knew they shouldn't have taken the job, and they ended up doing this carbon fiber, and the guy was already like 3 hours late, and he was trying to do him a favor, and he ended up putting it on the paint. Oh, it was for a SEMA build, I think, and the paint should have been dry, and it wasn't dry, and he lifted up a corner, and it peeled the paint. And it's at that point you're basically screwed. You know what I mean? It's just whatever your gut tells you. If it tells you, hey, you know, today's not the day, then fucking there's always tomorrow. Nope.
Right.
Sorry, you're gonna have to say no to this project. And I think a lot of us have a still, and I say this often, a lot of us still have a very, 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 very hard time saying no to a lot of work.
Yeah, I would agree with that, which I think is kind of just natural to being a business owner.
Yeah, you want it.
Hungry, you want to. Yeah, you want the work. So do you have like a OEM like paint sign off sheet, or do you discuss paint in any way in any of your contracts?
We do, especially with the commercial stuff. We do a lot. It's, you know, if we end up doing a vehicle inspection at first. Yeah. Generally, if the people aren't around and they're not able to get to our shop, we usually just tell them, you know what, before we give you a quote, send us over an email, all four sides of your car. And generally, it's, you know, an iPhone or an Android, they do a decent amount of work where you can kind of zoom in and you can see if there's like rust or dents or bullshit on it. We'll
now you run that page right off the Wrap Institute? Or
no.
tailored from it?
No. It's kind of just, it's already been built into the, like, our day in and day out stuff. Like, anybody that calls, anybody that emails, you know, anything, before we even give them a quote, we want photos. We want to make sure it's like we're dealing with what you say we're dealing with, because more often than not, somebody will call you and say, yeah, I got a Chevy Transit and it's 144 wheelbase, some shit. Mm-hmm. And we'll go, okay, yeah, is it the high top, the mid roof, or the short?
Yeah, they always get that one wrong.
They always get it wrong. And shame on Ford. I've said this fucking 1,000 times. Shame on Ford for making too many fucking options, because they're screwing us rap guys over. So, to get rid of asking all those fucking questions, it's just like, just send us a photo. Just send us the back, the two sides, and the front. Just send that over, and then we'll give you a quote. Usually that mitigates the tire kickers that are just looking for bullshit quotes. You know what I mean? Yeah, then we'll go out and take a picture and send it over. Oh, cool. Thank you for not doing that, because I wouldn't have not want to deal with you throughout this process if this was going to be bullshit from the start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like if you can't even send me pictures, you probably aren't going to go. You're not going to spend several $1,000s on a project.
Exactly. If you're not invested in your brand or what you want to have done, then fucking I'm not invested either. So good riddance. So
Yeah, makes sense.
photographs,
Or
100%.
When they say, like, a recent one of mine, and I will say Shopbox does a good job, or maybe I should say Tanner did a good job at building the back end of our Shopbox, but we have in our quotes, just in like kind of fine print saying that like this is subject to vary if the vehicle's been hasn't been seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a little checkbox that like you have to check whether you've seen or not seen the vehicle before you can even finalize the quote.
Right.
Like approve it to send it.
Yeah.
So,
Smart.
one that just like that, where that just saved us. Like, honestly, this week we have a Mustang wrap going on right now. When we quoted over the phone, like we use, like a square footage for most of our pricing. So, he told us the year, make, and model. We shot him over the price. Like, you pick this film. He wanted a little bit more of a not standard film, so it inflated his price by a multiplier. Whatever. He showed up, and the thing's got racing stripes all down it. It's got like his little aftermarket Mustang
Spoiler.
GT. Yeah, like Mustang GT, like decals all over the side. And I'm like, okay, whoa, you didn't disclose that we had 3 or 4 hours of removal before we even get to start the wrap. So, luckily he was cool with it. Like, I called him, I said, hey, before you get blindsided at pickup with an extra couple $100 on your bill, I gotta remove all this crap off your car before
Right.
I can wrap it. And he was cool with it, but that's where that paperwork actually saved us. Because if the paperwork didn't dictate that small thing, he definitely had a case of fighting us, saying, nope, this is what you quoted us. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, I always say don't quote anything without looking at it. Just rule of thumb, because you're gonna get into it now with the restyling part of it. It's okay. I have a Subaru WRX. Okay. Standard 2019, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's going to be like $3,500 to wrap it, whatever color you want to do, whatever. And he shows up with a fucking body kit, a fucking Liberty Walk wide body kit, and like all this shit. And you're like, whoa. I got fucking extra panels here. Your bumper's going to be fucking in 10 pieces. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's not factory.
You just went from buying 1 roll to 2 rolls.
Right. It's like, it's not factory. And I mean, it's something obviously all of us disclose. This isn't, new to anybody. You know, you always ask, hey, what do you got that's aftermarket? I need to know, because I need to factor in those particular, scenarios. Do you have like one of those stupid bumpers with all the crazy vents in it that I have to do 1,000 inlays in it? Or do you have a factory one where I only have to put 3 inlays? You know what I mean? It's just, it's a matter of adding 6 more hours to the job, because, you got to add all this extra time for the install. It's not even material. The material is nothing. It's the time that you put into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. When they call for a hood wrap, and it's like, well, is it flat with no windshield washer spitters, or is it have 3 hood vents in it and a bunch of other crap we got to unscrew and pop out of it?
Oh, it's crazy. It's just, pictures will save you. Pictures, what do they say? This is my ongoing thing, apparently. Every time I got like a saying, I always fuck it up. Pictures are, what do they say? Pictures are worth a
picture. Yeah, pictures will save you thousands of dollars.
Oh, thousands of dollars. Oh my God, thousands of dollars. My God. Oh, it's crazy. It would definitely save you on doing that, mitigating the questionable scenarios and the awkward conversations that would, eventually happen down the road, if you don't have them. But putting that into your day to day will, again, like I said, weed out the people that are tire kickers, as well as give you a better accurate look at what you are actually going to be quoting, as opposed to just Googling it and saying, oh, okay, we're going to go with a factory look. It's going to be X amount. And then they show up and it's a fucking full body kit and all this shit.
Yeah. No, I like it. I definitely like weeding out the tire kickers. We actually, on our website submission form, cause like I said, we get 3 a day and sometimes even way more than that. But, we just have like a little checkbox that they have to check before they could even submit, of just seeing like where they're at on like the ready to buy. Like one's like pretty much just like just checking prices, just looking around, wanting more info. And then another one's like ready to schedule the wrap right now. And it's like, okay. And we kind of gauge where they're at. If they're ready to schedule the wrap right now, then all right, we're going to call you and get you on the schedule right now.
Yeah. You're just first.
Yeah. If you're just trying to get some more info or kicking tires, then okay, well, we'll shoot you an email and ask you 18 questions and ask for pictures and see if you even respond.
Right.
Or if it was just like a late night infomercial that you were like, oh, vehicle wraps, let's see who does it.
Right. In my neighborhood, what's going on? How often you getting people hitting that, ready to go, box?
I would say probably 30%.
Wow.
So out of all the ones that are, cause so Tanner actually handles all the ones that aren't ready to wrap. Like she'll handle all the email correspondence.
Yeah. And
then I will call all the ones that are, that say ready to wrap. I had, out of all of my sales calls today, now granted we just came in over the weekend and we usually get more in the weekend than we do throughout any day in the week. But I had like 4 or 5 that I had to call immediately because they were ready to wrap over the weekend.
Wow. Do you feel like you miss out? Do you feel like you miss out that you don't get back to them during the weekend, or do you like to take your weekends off?
So I definitely don't take many weekends off. But I don't necessarily do a bunch of sales calls on the weekend. Like my weekends are me actually like installing and wrapping, obviously trying to spend as much family time as I can, but, I usually don't open up my computer. I try to be as productive as I can, that when my computer's on, I'm like nailing out my list of calls, but I'm not just like waiting for that email at 9:00 at night on a Saturday and then trying to close it. Honestly, I've always tried to build a big brand and kind of go from there. I mean, I'm prompt, so I'm going to call them on Monday. I'm not going to wait till Thursday to call them from a weekend before.
Right.
But, I think them submitting the website and then me calling them 2 hours later on a Saturday or Sunday night, kind of hurts, to be honest. Just kind of like the psychology behind it, that this wrap shop is calling you an hour later trying to get you in. They're probably not busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would rather, if it were like I was in the customer's shoes, if I was going into a wrap shop, I walked in, they have several wraps going and they tell me they're 2 or 3 weeks out before they could even get me in. And that's only if I pay my deposit right now. It's like, okay, well, shoot, here's my money. Get me on the schedule. Cause if I don't pay today, then, we actually had that, I closed the job today, paid the deposit. Guy came in like 2 weeks ago, just looking at some colors, wanted us to buy, the little 12 by 12 samples of a couple different ones so he could like go put them on his car and kind of get an idea of what it looked like. But when he asked a couple weeks ago, he's like, how much leeway do you need? And I was like, well, right now we're about 10 to 14 days out. Well, he came in today, picked his color, and I was like, all right, let's get you on the schedule. Like, you're ready to pay a deposit, whatever. And I was like, I scheduled him like 3 or 3.5 weeks out. And he was like, holy crap, you're that far out? And then like immediately was like, let's pay the deposit. Like he didn't want to wait any longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, being selectively prompt, I guess, actually really honestly helps me close, because it's when you come from the stance of like, oh my gosh, I need your money right now so we can get working on this tomorrow. It's like, it's a little weary. Like even to the guys that are new and on their own, like, I don't know, learn how to starve for a week. Try to make yourself sound busy for a week before you can bring something in. It's going to help you close.
Yeah. I think it could be a big beneficial tactical way of running a business, but then it also could hurt you. In the
I think it would hurt on the smaller jobs.
Oh,
so like
dude.
if a guy just wants some door slaps or like a quick roof wrap and I tell him I'm 3 weeks out, probably not getting that job.
Right.
But, and that's where I try to run my, like I said, I have 1,800 square feet. I try to always have,
Something.
if you parallel park one car, like you back it in and put it tight up against the wall, it's almost like a separate garage that you could do your full wraps, and then you have your bay that you could do all your quick stuff. So I try to manage, like, give or take 1 to 3 full wraps a week and 1 to 3 quick jobs a day that are just coming in and out of the smaller garage, like, or out of the smaller bay. Yeah. That way I can close those small ones. Cause if I'm like,
jammed
okay,
up.
well, if I'm like, well, I can't get to your door slaps for 3 weeks, then I honestly would look differently at the client if they were okay with waiting 3 weeks for some door slaps.
Right.
Like, if you're okay with your truck sitting there and not making you money for 3 weeks, then I'm not investing in your company.
Right. Yeah. I'd hate to go back. I hate to go back on that job I was doing with the green and yellow, but the original company that was doing that actually had that account, the marketing company that reached out to them to get these trucks lined up, they told them they were a month out.
Ooh, yeah, you gotta start networking with local shops. Like how I said, I have a couple subcontractors and shops that are open for when I'm a little overbooked.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that company's got to figure out.
But think about
other avenues of making money. Even if it's not a large margin, you still keep the client, because now you just took the client.
I just took the client. Yep. Because, I mean, she did a due diligence, and, you know, it was a friend that owns the marketing company, and they already had their people in place. She was just calling to see what the lead time was. They said 4 weeks. She goes, called me right away.
Right.
How much time you need? I'm like, 7 days. That's it.
Right.
And I can probably get you in sooner. And it's the only reason why we give you 7 days, our turnaround's 24 hours. So most of the cars we have parked right now in our bay or outside are getting done within the next 24 hours. Our turnaround's so quick. It's like in and out.
So you're doing full wraps in one day then?
Multiple full wraps in one day.
How many people you have installing on that?
There's between so from our main shop, it's only me, our main shop. I'm doing a lot of the smaller jobs, partials, maybe a full wrap, depends on what's going on. Or I'm doing repairs cause we do a lot of ambulances and stuff like that. So I'm doing some repairs most of the time.
Okay.
But, our other two shops, between the two shops, there's, I don't know, 16 installers, give or take.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
That
how you're
does
able to turn them so quick.
It's different. It's like, different volume. Yeah, we're definitely working with different volumes, and that's just what we got going on in Massachusetts. We got a lot of nationwide accounts that I, help ship graphics to certain installers in different states for different fleet accounts that we have. So not only are we doing, a lot of wraps throughout the day in our locations, but we're also shipping out graphics daily for different accounts we manage. And
you're running all of that off of 2 or 3 printers, or do you have printers in each location?
4. So there's 4 printers. Our main hub location, our kind of flagship location, has everything. So it's all our offices, production, we have 3 designers. They all manage their own projects based on what's going on and what printer is available to print for the day. And then we have an office manager that she takes care of some of the production. She takes care of, callbacks, emails, and stuff like that on the back end. But we only have 9 people in our flagship location. So,
So your customers aren't walking in and pulling your installers off the job to ask for a quote.
No. There's usually somebody available up front. And half the time, I don't know, half the time it's usually like phone calls or emails. And a lot of our business is like probably 80% of our business is repeat business, just like the fleet stuff. Just like, hey, we just bought 5 trucks. Can we drop them off? Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Drop them off in the parking lot, bring in the keys. We have a full board by the door in the bay that we get to write who the job is, and then all their keys go in that one section. So from the other 2 locations, they'll come by in the morning. They'll grab the keys to the car. They'll grab the graphics for that car, put everything in the car, and drive to the other location, which is about 5 miles away. So
they're basically just installer bays then. Like customers aren't.
They're not dropping off there.
Probably not even. Yeah, I was gonna say probably not even aware that those trucks are there.
Nope. Half the time they're not. Unless it's a bigger vehicle like a bus, a shuttle bus.
You need a different class driver's license.
Yeah, they just drop it off there. They pull it into the bay. Like we do all the stuff for Barstool Sports, so their big tour bus that they have. They'll go and drop it off at our bigger location, which they'll drive right in, and the guys will get going on it. But like stuff like that, like shuttle bus companies, we do a lot of university shuttle buses and 16 passenger, 55 passenger buses. They'll usually just drop them off there, and typically they basically know that we have other locations within a few miles, that not everything gets done in our bay.
Right.
But a lot of the small stuff, like I've got a big week today. Today, like I said, I did two partials and started doing the other 2 partials, which is basically two back tailgates and prepping for the sides. But that's why, like I said, like the prepping part is so, dude, literally, if I prep the car, it's like 25 minutes at least between wiping everything down with alcohol, getting all the door jams inside the creases, around the rubbers, taping off whatever I need to tape off, taking off whatever I need to take off. It's a lot of work, and I'm like exhausted after I do that. And then I gotta put the shit on. I'm like, oh my God. But you can't.
The prep feels like it was a job done in itself.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And it's tough to do all that and install at the same time. I would rather have the cars in the night before, take 1 hour of the end of the day and clean and prep and get ready to go for the following day.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But because today was Monday, and we're not in the offices during the weekends,
right.
I didn't get the luxury of doing that. So Mondays generally suck a little bit because they're a little bit more dragged out because of the fact you gotta prep and clean. But tomorrow I'm ready to go. As soon as I get in, those cars are clean and ready for me tomorrow. So guns are blazing.
Yeah, that's sweet. Your production level at your company is ridiculously desired.
It's stressful though. I mean, the amount of hands that make the engine work. You know what I mean? Like all the gears involved. All it takes is one person to just drop the ball, and it's like literally like, I don't know, like
that makes sense.
Crazy.
So are you guys like hiring from people with experience, or are your hires like you take them not knowing hardly anything and you're forming them to your guys' or your company's systems?
Our people that work for us have been with the business almost since infancy.
Oh, wow.
We really haven't had that much
turnover.
We've gone through a couple of in-house installers, which is basically my position right now. But I play kind of like a different role because I know all aspects of the business, the sales part, the closing of the sales part, designing, production, installation, like cutting, weeding, like I know the ins and outs because I ran my own shop, and it's the owner of the shop is probably one of my good friends. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, I only have maybe like top 5 friends. He's in my top 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, number one guy. We used to feed work off each other. We both started the business roughly around the same time. He grew like leaps and bounds over what I was doing. I was still keeping it low key, but he went, you know, the bigger route, and he benefited from it a lot. So I'm super grateful and super happy that I was able to get back into the industry, and he was able to give me that opportunity, given that I, you know, could play a lot of different bases in the business, and if he needs me to step in any aspect of the business, I'm able to just hop on and do my thing, you know.
Yeah. You're the oil to the machine, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Yeah, you know, if there's a design question, and you know there's a better technique for installation, I'm able to voice my opinion on it, and if there's you know, if there's a design that needs to get done right away and all our designers are jammed, then you know what? I'm designing today. You know what I mean? And play a lot of different roles, but it's not like when I worked for myself, and you know, wearing a lot of the hats, it's very stressful throughout the day. You feel like you've done so much, but yet you've done so little throughout the day.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was like 2:00. I literally said it, like looked at the clock today and I was like, holy crap, it's already 2:00. I feel like it should only be 10.
Right.
Because it's just, that's how long it took me to get through all my sales calls, all of my quotes, clear my inbox, and then also send like 3 or 4 proofs over, schedule 2 people for the following weeks. And I look up and it's like, I mean, 2:00, it's basically the round and third going home at the end of the day. And it's like, oh, we do not have enough done.
Right.
But yeah, it's like I said, I closed two full wraps today, and that one, when I pushed them, it had to go 3 weeks out. I immediately went to Tanner and I was like, put ads back out. We need another person, because I can't be scheduling 3 or 4 weeks. Like if I close one tomorrow, they're 4 weeks out. I can't. That's starting to get into the danger zone.
Yeah. Or it's, you know, either you get them in and you work, you know, a couple nights just to get them done, you know. Pull an all-nighter.
It's
you still got that futon back there, right?
Yeah, well, it's actually a fancier looking couch now, but it's
serves
now
its
it's actually
purpose.
now it's actually like a show couch. So if someone's coming in for like a roof or a hood wrap and they don't want to Uber away for a 30-minute job, they can just hang out.
Right.
So that's what the couch is ultimately meant for, is for kind of a hangout. Or I do a lot of business networking where I do one-to-ones with people, like grab coffee with them.
Nice.
So I actually so when we remodeled, I had that intent in mind of like, okay, let's actually make like a cool couch. Let's actually like have coffee provided like in a cool looking way with a water cooler. So I can try to bring some of those one-to-one meetings in-house, so I don't have to think about that 15-minute drive there and back.
Right. Smart.
That way I can hammer out that meeting, obviously be productive, but then, I mean, that spot is inside my bay. So like they get to hang out while they watch my business run around me. So it's kind of like somewhat of a wow factor too, because it's, what do you do? Oh, well, look up.
Right. Yeah. Look around.
This is what we do. This is what we do all day.
That's cool.
But yeah, no, I guess I'm happy for you and your friend, but I can't wait till I'm to that level, where we're running full wraps every day, just little by little. There's definitely, I don't even think there's 16 installers in all of Dayton, which is where I'm at. But
that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was now, but it was a difficult like bumper accent piece that was being wrapped, and She priced it off like square footage and what our normal system was. And I'm like, yeah, this needs to be an exception because I think I'm like one of 4 people in my entire market that can actually wrap this thing.
Jesus.
Cause it's just, I mean, my market is tiny. That's why I've resorted to training people, because putting ads out, I'll get 1 or 2 semi-qualified people that they're either so set in their ways or just culture wise, they don't click.
Right.
Cause I've had 2 installers that were actually had experience, more experience than I had. But I mean, I'm a businessman enough to know, I'm like, well, this quality doesn't work. You're not moving fast enough. You just burned up 3 panels that I now have to reprint. So sorry, you might have 10 years of experience, but it's not showing.
Right. That's always tough. It's like you could chalk up a little bit to nerves or something, but oof.
Yeah, but after like a month, you're still making the same mistakes you were making in week 1. You gotta be, I lost, my butt a little bit on one employee I had for like several months. On a personal standpoint, nothing personal, but business decision, it just wasn't making sense. He just didn't fit culture wise. And then he was just, every job, something was messed up, that needed to be reprinted. And he had some design experience too. So I was letting him design some stuff, but he would design stuff and not think about, okay, well, this food truck air vent is going to be right in the middle of this logo. And he's already done his checks, already done his prints. And now I have to reprint 3 panels because logos are getting cut out by air vents and hoods or serving windows. And I'm like, this doesn't work. So that's where I've resorted to, all right, screw it. Bring somebody in with a good attitude and willingness to learn, and I'll put them through the gauntlet real quick and get them trained.
Yeah. It's almost, like I said, it's almost easier to get them as a greenhorn and let them do your process the way you do it and learn it that way. It's just easier than coming in with experience and bad experience where you've got to break the habits. It's just, it's a tough nut to crack. Employers.
Yeah, back to the wall, squeegee the tape.
Yeah. That's crazy. Insane. One thing I did want to ask you was your equipment, like your printer. What type of printer do you have?
So again, this is all inherited equipment. The only thing I've upgraded was my actual computer itself. But so I have a Roland RF640, which is the workhorse.
Yeah.
I have a little Suma cutter, like 24-inch plotter that cuts all my work out, like 24-inch rolls.
Nice.
Honestly, I think that thing's older than I am. It won't run on anything other than Windows 8. I actually have a Windows 8 computer under my desk.
Wow.
That is only for that plotter. And it's like, well, either this old computer or this old plotter is going to go out. And when it does, I'll have to make an upgrade. But
Jesus, does it run on serial port?
Yeah. I believe so, actually.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's old. It's super old.
Wow.
I called Suma because I was having the problem. I was trying to connect it to my like brand new computer, like Windows 10 or 15, whatever the new thing is out now. But, tried plugging it in, it wasn't working. So I called them, and the tech on the phone pretty much laughed and was like, yeah, no one here actually has knowledge on that machine anymore. And you're going to have to either buy like tech time to come learn it and help you, or like he pretty much said, or you could just buy a new plotter for like $2,000, which is going to be much less expensive.
No shit.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll keep this Windows 8 computer running until something fails, because it works.
I'll tell you, a lot of the older cutters, they cut a lot better than the newer ones.
Yeah, I could see that. I actually, the funny part is I had 2 of them. But you can't plug 2 into the same computer. Like, it was so old, it doesn't understand that there was 2 machines to go to. So I just had one extra. I actually ended up just selling it like maybe 2 months ago.
Wow.
Because I was just like, well, have an extra machine, and like in big bold letters and all my ads was like, you must have Windows 8 or this won't work. But it sold. So
Wow.
made like $150 or something on it. But
there you go.
But yeah, so Roland RF 640 is the workhorse. We talked about the GFP, laminator. I think it fits up to 60-inch lam. I typically only run 54 because my glorified plotter is an SP540V, but it hasn't printed since I've bought the place. So the ink is just for looks.
I had an SP540. That thing's a workhorse.
Yeah, it's all dried up. When I bought the place, they just didn't print on it. Like when I bought the place, he was doing, and this is according to my neighbors in my little plaza that I'm in. My neighbors said that they were only seeing 1 or 2 cars come in and out of his garage on a monthly basis.
A monthly basis?
Yeah, they said I pushed more in and out in a day than they saw him do in a month.
Jesus Christ.
So the SP540 being dried up and not able to print makes a lot of sense.
Unreal. Yeah, and that thing's a pain in the ass to get a tech out to.
Yeah, I tried getting NASDAR to come out and fix it, and they more or less told me it might be more worth your while to get up onto a payment program on a brand new one than it is to pay somebody to come out and fix it.
Oh yeah, they're not making any more parts for it. It's you're done. It's basically a paperweight that can cut.
Yeah, that's exactly what I use it as, and kind of the same thing as the other plotter. It's like, well, I'm gonna keep cutting with it until it quits cutting, and then I guess I'll just buy a replacement rather than fixing it.
Yeah, and the best part about it is that you have VersaWorks, so you're able to utilize the two print cut features, and not have to stop production because you have to cut something, or stop production because you have to print something. You do both at the same time, which is huge.
Yeah, that is nice. It's not abnormal that all basically 4 machines are running at one time.
Yeah.
So like my SP will be cutting, the RF will be printing, my small plotter will be printing something while I'm working the laminator.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's not an abnormal, I guess, print production day in the shop.
It's a good sound when you have all the machines running. You know you're making money, right?
Oh yeah. I tell Tanner all the time, I said, when I just walk in the building, whether it's running or not, I just hear the RF head going back and forth. Just like a constant buzz in my head when I'm in this place.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you run into any problems with your blacks in saturation and letting things out gas with the rolling?
No, I haven't really had a ton of problems with that. The only, I guess, small issue with just how long it takes to print a job is when I would do 1 to 3 wraps a week, if I can't schedule them all in the same day. So I learned that mistake the hard way. I'd sell like 3 wraps for a week. I'm like, yeah, just all of them. Drop it off on Monday. And then I'm sitting here trying to print 3 jobs on the same printer in one day. I don't have enough material for it, and I don't have enough time to sit here and wait for that material to run out so that I can load up a new roll. So yeah, that's about the only issue that I've had, where I just have to stagger my wraps. Like, all right, you drop off Monday, you drop off Tuesday, and you drop off Wednesday.
Right.
Just so that I can that way I can manage the print side of it, because I'm pretty religious about not printing until they drop off. Because I just don't trust the outline. I've been burned by a couple inches here and there, and then I'm reprinting half a job.
Really? Using the Pro Vehicle Outlines template, you've been burnt?
And I guess now fast forward 3 years, I probably understand a little bit better now, but like, think of the older, like, like 250s.
Yeah.
That have that wraparound corner that goes, I don't know, freaking 8 or 9 inches around until the back door.
Yep.
So situations like that just a template outline doesn't dictate that well. So I'm like,
always add 12 inches.
Okay. Yeah. That's one thing that I guess hadn't done in the past. So now it helps because I don't have 16 people that
ask questions.
Like between the breakdown, the cleaning, the prepping, the removals and all that before we can actually start wrapping,
right,
takes a half day or so. And again, that's a half day with, like, I guess one person, and they're also probably finishing up another job, but regardless, it works out that I'm pretty well able to tell the client, all right, that first day, I'm going to be double checking prints, getting the printer rolling, while someone's going to be pulling it in, cleaning it, breaking it down. And then the install doesn't happen for a day until the next day or something like that. So,
right.
So
crazy.
It works out.
It's a lesson
until I get 16 installers.
Yeah.
I'm sure my systems will change a little bit.
Yeah. It's be a whole nother level of headaches you'll have. Unfortunately, it's just, as you grow, you get served other problems that you thought you wouldn't have to handle or deal with. And
that makes sense. I love it though. It's kind of what I live for. Like I have a business coach I meet with, like, on every other week. We'll have a face-to-face meeting and sometimes a call in between. And I love it because every time I call him, I'm like, crap, I need some outside eyes looking in at this problem. This is what's happening. He's like, okay, try this, do this. Wow. Okay, cool. I wish I could have taken a step back to see that problem myself, see that resolved myself. But yeah, I love it. Fixing a problem, making that, I don't know. I mean, everything to me is just like I guess kind of like how you're the oil in the machine. That's how I kind of see it. I see a machine operating and I'm like, okay, there's a bottleneck over here that's slowing everything down. Let's figure out how to fix that so it increases productivity. And then, I don't know, that now my prints and laminator is going too fast to where the person that preps the panels for the install can't keep up. And then trying to obviously then go solve that problem, figure out how to make that more efficient. But yeah, no, I love it.
Do you think, I know, you touched on it for a second, having a business coach helps you, be a better business owner? Cause I don't think I've had anybody on the show, or at least was willing to tell me that they had a business coach, or some type of, I think mostly the way we look at it, cause I have them and I would assume other people would, it's just mentors that you either network and you ask questions, you talk, maybe once every couple months or once a week or whatever. And it's just, that lifeline where you're in a jam and you're like, dude, how do I do this? Cause I've tried it 3 times and nothing's working. How do you feel that having a business, like a business coach helps you manage your business better?
So now, granted, I'm going to do it with like an asterisk because you definitely need to vet your coach or mentor. Like you just don't make sure your coach or mentor isn't the guy I bought the business from.
Yeah.
Oh
man.
But yeah, assuming that you do your due diligence and making sure that you find a good coach for yourself, it's huge. The only thing I wish I'd have done different would have been hired one sooner. Because it's even if you feel like, oh, I don't need a coach because I know what the heck I'm doing, because I know that I need to put an operation manual in, but then 6 months from now, you still haven't even wrote the first page to that operation manual. That business coach also plays as that heavy accountability partner too. Because if you're paying the guy, I don't know, $200, $300, $400 a month to coach you, he's telling you to do something, and then in the next meeting, he's telling you to do the same thing. And then in the next meeting, he's hitting you upside the head as to why you haven't started on doing that one thing yet.
Right.
It really gets the ball rolling. I mean, I told him it actually was his idea about the whole, like trial period for employees, like new hires that are more or less green, that don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of his idea to, hey, why don't you do some kind of like quote unquote tryout? And that was kind of his, I guess, spark. He didn't really go a ton into it. And he has a lot of trust and respect for me that he can just point me down the right path, and I'll figure out how to best do it towards my industry.
Wow.
Cause my business coach actually isn't in my industry at all. He had to learn my industry to understand, what my needs and all that were.
Wow.
Cause he's actually in like a networking industry, and he's national at this point. So he has territories all over the country. And 3 years ago, he was just in our market. So that was kind of why I picked him. I'm like, okay, well, you took a territory where your people or local business owners were only meeting here, and now they're meeting in Houston, Texas. They're meeting in Utah. Like there's groups meeting with your business logo every day across the country.
That's amazing.
Like, how the heck did you build those systems and that structure was my first initial call to him. And then I asked him to be my business coach, and I had enough friendship and respect for him. I was like, look, if I call you every month, I know you'll give me an hour of your time to help you, but like, I want to pay you to be up my butt about what I need to do and don't need to do. So no, it's been phenomenal. And then as for, networking and just getting around the right people has been huge. I mean, it sucks, but learning that certain friends from high school, or honestly, even some certain family members, they don't see like the way a business owner sees, and they're just kind of bringing you down on the business side. Nothing against any particular person or high school friend on a personal level, but knowing that maybe you should catch up with them once a year rather than go out to the bar with them every other night is where they need to be in your life for you to succeed is huge.
Yeah. It's a different mentality being a business owner, because it's, you get up in the morning, you go work for the man, and not saying that working for the man is a bad thing, but you get a paycheck. When you're a business owner, you have to create your own paycheck, and going to the bar isn't a place where you want to spend your real hard-earned money, that you had to bust your ass for 10 hours wrapping a car to get to, put food on the table or buy dog food or whatever the case may be. And you learn to appreciate a lot more, in things. Not saying that you gotta be frugal as fuck, you know what I mean? Obviously you want to buy something nice, you buy something nice, but you're a little bit more, aware of, your spendings and where you're spending.
I think a lot of it is just with priorities, passion, like what makes you happy. So I listen to a lot of like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, all of them. And one thing that like Gary Vee in particular has said that I now pretty much like live and breathe by, because as I said earlier, I'm 23 now. But since I was like 16 running my lawn care company, which at 16 I felt like I was in my 20s. But one thing he said is like to pretty much be at his level, you have to like deep down in your soul, like in your gut, be completely willing to dedicate your 20s to work. Like no parties. You're not going out with all your college friends. Like you are going to work 12 to 18 hours a day. You're going to work 7 days a week. You're not going to take a day off. And he pretty much said like your 20s is gone. You have to mentally prepare yourself to dedicate a decade of your life so that the next 40 or 50 years of your life are financial freedom.
Right.
But that being said, if that's not what you feel deep down in your heart, you want to make 30, 40, 50, 60,000 a year, which is still a comfortable living. Obviously you're not driving the GTRs and the McLarens on Instagram, but you're making a comfortable living. You're having a kid or two, settling down. You just really have to figure out what you want and then work for it. I just happen to be one of the weird people that are okay with dedicating their 20s. So I have to do kind of a mental check and figure out what my surroundings were and surround myself with the people that were also okay with dedicating their 20s. As I said earlier, like I'm looking into going into a second location much sooner than later.
Right.
And I'm going in with a partner on that to kind of run the personalization, the restyling side of the business or of the industry. That was a talk I had with him. I'm like, are you okay with pulling like all-nighter after all-nighter, not going out with your friends when they want you to go to the bar with them, and basically dedicating 5 to 10 years of your life to building this business? Or do you just want to make 30 or 40,000 a year and blow all your money and live for the weekend? And he showed very quickly that he was in it for the macro. He was in it for the long term rather than the quick cash that you can make. I mean, we all know you can make a quick grand on one wrap, but you go blow that grand on partying or buying tools that are useless, or I don't know, putting some cool rims on your car. Well, that grand literally did nothing to build your future. So, anyway, sorry, I got off on a tangent there.
No, dude, honestly, it's a great advice for people, whether they listen to Gary Vee or not. I mean, having that dedication to build your future, what better way to do that in your 20s? Because your 20s, you're definitely dicking around. I mean, I don't give a shit who you are. You're either partying it hard in college, you're in college, you're partying hard, you're getting just out, in your early 20s. If you're doing 4 years, whatever, but, or you're trying to figure your life out. I mean, if you just dedicate yourself to knowing what you kind of want to do and really motivating yourself to accomplish certain things, 10 years, honestly, at the end of the day, and this is me knowing from experience. I started my business when I was 22. And I worked my balls off till I was 32. Yeah. Okay. Almost fucking exactly 10 years later. Oh, give or take, plus or minus. Maybe 11. But I busted my balls off in my last, I don't know, 2-3 years of business was when I lived the most comfortablest I've ever had, where there was constant work coming in. I didn't have to worry about a paycheck. The constant flow of work was just happening, and it was organically happening. Just, you build that clientele. I had 2 kids, in the 10 years. I had 2 kids. I got married. I got divorced. I moved shops. I did the same thing. I got rid of signs to focus more on wraps, and I completely exploded. I was like through the seams. And then my divorce, unfortunately, was the demise of the business, but it was probably those 10 years, which makes sense, of just every day, 15, 18 hours a day, weekends, just hustling, got me to where my 10-year mark was. And by the time I was there, it happened so fast. It literally happened. It's weird to say, like, you ever look back, like now, like, for instance, when you were in, like, high school, give or take, you're like, fuck, can't wait till I'm out, blah, 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 and then you're out, and then you're like, holy shit. But then you're out, and then you're like, damn, high school was 10 years ago? Like, what the, crazy, right?
I even do that here. Yeah, I even do that here because I think back of, like, the first 3 months in business of like they were yesterday, and I'm like, holy crap, that was
3 years ago.
3 years ago,
right? Yeah.
Or even some like high school stories where I'm like, yeah, I remember. I actually had an odd job at one point where I was doing a courier service. So I was driving in the middle of the night, like clearing out gym safes and collecting contracts. But I was driving at night, sleeping in the car, waking up, mowing grass all day, till sundown, would take a couple hour nap and then go drive again. Ended up probably falling asleep in the car and then going to working again all day. But I mean, that was 4 or 5 years ago at this point. I'm like, man, I felt like I just in Gary V's terms, it's like, man, I've been eating crap for 5 years and it feels like it's been like 6 months.
Right.
Like I'm just getting started.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you know, you gotta have that mindset. You gotta have that mentality. You gotta be able to just fucking give yourself to your business for that amount of time. You know, it could happen sooner. It could happen later, but 10 years is a pretty good starting point to where, you know, you can gauge yourself in that decade of where you've been. You're either going to continue to flourish or you've kind of plateaued and you're just riding the horse, you know, for lack of a better word. It's just, or, you know, you go 6 years and you're fucking top of the cream and you're killing it and it's just getting better and better. It's like, it happens in different stages. You're going to have ups and downs, but it goes by really fast. Like, yeah.
And I think a big separator and all that, honestly, back to a few points ago, but back to that coach or accountability partner. Like that, if I could have had that, if I'd have been paying $200, $300, $400 a month to a coach when I was 16, thinking I knew everything about the world running my lawn care business, like I knew business, no one else knew better than me. If I would have had that coach that would have already gone through all of that, made all the mistakes I did, was there when I was like, hey, I want to buy this new truck for my lawn care company because it's whatever. It looks cool. It's huge. It could pull a bigger trailer. But then you would be like, well, you could save $6,000 if you bought this truck. And then that $6,000 could help build this part of your business. Or you had that coach to say, hey, coach, my wrap shop that letters my lawn care companies wants me to, buy the business. And then I'm able to tell that coach, yeah, this is what he said in this conversation. This is how he acted during this. This is what I said. This is what he said. That coach would have been like, yeah, you might want to, you know, maybe look that guy up in the county site first before you, before you go in the business. Yeah, that was a coach or a mentor or somebody that's more experienced, than you or further along is, I think, huge in making that, whether you're grinding for 10 years and then 15 years into it, you're finally starting to make it, or 6 years into it, you're making it.
Right. I think it's a good thing to have mentors or coaches. I think it's, or something where you can have conversations and throw around a couple ideas or questions. I mean, I think we do that, you know, even within just the shop, just talking about certain things and trying to implement new things, and everybody's got a great advice and opinions towards it. I think we ultimately make our own decisions at the end of the day. But having that person, like you said, there, make you accountable, remind you that you are spending money on having this person tell you what to do and basically how to do it. It's just up to you to put those things together and implement them in your day-to-day business. But
right. And I would say this, from my experience, just our industry in general seems to be one of the friendliest industries I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like I actually got a call from a shop out of Texas, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And, we were DMing about like how to try to get more followers on Instagram, which by all means I have like none. Like I think I have like 400, but anyway, I was DMing him, just figuring out how he got more followers on Instagram and all that. And then we just got to talking about how we each run our business. And I ended up just scheduling a call with him because I'm like, all right, I can't just sit here and text all day long. Let's just, I was like, let's just knock out a call and we'll answer all each other's questions. And I was asking the guy how he got his business, because I told him I went from 1 to 3 reps a week pretty much in a year. And he was like, man, I'm only doing like 1 or 2 a month. Like, how are you doing your sales? And I told him about networking and all that. And I asked him, like, he goes to car shows, and I'm like, okay, cool. So like, are you passing out cards? Are you engaging in conversation? Are you talking to people? And he goes, oh no, I line up my cards and just put a postcard on it. Like, he was too introverted to go talk to people. And I'm like, well, your car is going to get people in the door, but it's like, it's you that's going to sell it.
Right.
So they need to know and trust you, not your car sitting in a car show. And so anyway, I told him to make a goal for himself at his first car show. After our conversation, I said, literally, don't even put more cards than this in your pocket. Put 2 cards in your pocket. Make it your goal to talk to 2 people and have a good enough conversation to hand them a card. And then that's it. Go be shy and sit in the corner the rest of the time. Don't talk to anybody. But like, pass out those 2 cards. That's your goal. Then your anxiety will drop and you can enjoy the rest of the car show. And he texted me that next Saturday, which is obviously car show day, but he texted me that next Saturday and he said, dude, I talked to 4 people, gave them my card. I have an i8 coming in for a quote, and like another, I can't remember the other one, like a Porsche that's interested in doing like a hood and roof wrap, and pretty much just was like, thanks for the advice. So this industry above all is just super friendly. I mean, I don't care to jump on a call with another shop for 15, 30 minutes or whatever and just kind of help them out, kind of give the same thing as that coach, just an outside look into what your situation is. So you're not swamped in the day to day, someone else actually looking at your situation.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, this industry is great about it, helping everybody out.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best industries to be in right now. And I think, you know, coming from, you know, way back when the sign industry was what it was and what it is, and some old timers still have kind of thinking they have the secret sauce and wouldn't talk to anybody. It's different dynamics back then, but now the network that we have, it's got to be mostly because our social media presence. We're able to connect with other people that aren't, you know, in our backyards. We're able to connect with people in California, Arizona, Texas, Canada, you know, overseas in the UK and Europe and stuff like that, within a text message DM on social media. It's just amazing. And any type of questions that, you know, we have, somebody is willing to give out the secrets and information, which is amazing.
The information is there. You just have to listen. And honestly, more importantly than just listening to all the information, you have to execute. Like, you have to take the information and apply it. I mean, like I said, I was running a lawn care industry. As for like quality of cut of the grass, I mean, I was definitely in the top. Like, there's very few that could cut grass better than I could. And then jumped into the wrap industry. 3 years later, I'm a firm believer that there's very few in my market, if any, that could wrap better than I can. And then throw me in a cupcake shop. I'm sure there's resources out there that I'll learn how to make a freaking cupcake and be one of the best in my industry. You just have to listen, but ultimately adapt. Like, learn from what you're listening to is the key thing there. 'Cause I'll get on here and I'll tell everybody on this podcast over and over, you could do it every single podcast. Just start it with, if you go to a car show, hand out 2 business cards, and there's going to be like 5% of the people that listen that are actually going to go to the car show and hand out 2 business cards.
No.
Like, it's just, information's there. You just got to listen and apply.
I think that's the hardest part, is the applying part. Listening, anybody can listen all day long. It's the applying the scenario to it. And I'll give you a quick example. Is one of my buddies from Texas, not Sean Martinez, by the way, another one, which anybody knows. You know, you can, you know, narrow it down. He asked me, hey, what's the best way to get some leads? And I gave him the information. I gave him the sauce. I even gave him I gave him categories. And this was months ago, at least three months ago. And, I was on his ass about it. Hey, did you send out those emails? No, I haven't gone to it. Hey, did you send out those emails? No, I haven't gone to it. I'm like, dude, have you sent anything out? Not even one. No, I haven't. Been so busy. I'm like, dude, you know what the problem is that you don't apply this to when you're busy. You only apply it to when you're not busy. And at that point, what you're doing is hurting yourself, because getting leads when you're not busy is what? It's gonna do you no good. You're not busy. Doing the leads while you're busy and trying to get new business while you're busy will make up for the times that you start getting those lulls, because of the fact that you start putting feelers out there. You know, who cares?
Yeah,
they want a quote. Send them a quote. Who cares? They might not call you back for a month. But you know what? That 1 week, that month later that you're not busy and they want to get their truck done, you've already made the contact. You gave them the information. They already got your information. They got the quote. They're ready to drop it off. You're good to go. Right. You've already made that initial contact. Like, don't wait until if there's any piece of advice, is don't wait till you're not busy to start figuring out a plan to be busy. Like, you've already jumped ship. Like, you're already in the water. Like, what are you gonna do? I mean,
yeah, you gotta always have you gotta obviously have a high priority on what's in your shop, but you need to have almost equal priority on focusing on what's next, what's out of your shop, or what's lined up for your shop. Like, if you're working on a wrap and you're not a week or two out, you need to be panicking.
Oh yeah.
You don't close a wrap overnight. Like,
no.
There's a process to that. It's going to take 7 to 14 days to close a deal on a quick one.
Yeah.
You don't close a deal and then they drop off the next day. And if they do, you're not charging enough.
You're not
they
charging
just nickel
enough.
and dimed you all the way down. Yeah. Because they know if you can bring it in the next day, then they want 50% off.
Something. They want something. Oh.
Right.
Yeah, you got to implement those things, whether you're 14 days out or you're a couple weeks out, a month out, whatever. You always have to continuously keep feeding the monster. You got to keep feeding the monster, because as soon as you leave it alone and you think, oh, you know what, he's good for a little while, we're gonna make some money, we're gonna get these jobs done. It's like, you run into that last week and you got nothing booked. Oof. There's nothing worse than panicking, knowing you only got like one install the following week. It's like, oh my God.
If you're in a week and you're not already at full capacity the next week, you need to be following up on every quote you sent for the past 3 months, and sending feelers out to every client that you've wrapped for the past 2 years to see how they're doing.
Right. Hey, what's going on? Any new trucks? I got some openings.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
People get embarrassed to do that. You know that to call like clients they haven't talked to in a little while to see if they have anything going on. People get embarrassed. They don't want to call.
Yeah. If you just come from, like, obviously don't call and say, hey, I'm hungry. Do you have anything?
Right.
But if you just call them from a genuine, hey, how you doing? How can I help?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think what people underutilize, they don't realize, especially in the commercial side, you are dealing with businesses all day long. Ask your construction guy if he needs to meet an electrician.
Right.
Introduce your clients to each other. I mean,
networking.
Yeah. I mean, I closed a job on an electrician not too long ago because he said he was looking for a kitchen remodeler. This was before I had sold anything for him. Said he was looking for a kitchen remodeler. Just so happens that I had just closed a trailer wrap on a kitchen remodeler like 2 weeks prior. So I called up the kitchen remodeler and I said, hey, I have a friend and a potential client that's electrician, said he's looking for you, a kitchen remodeler. Do you mind if I introduce you to? So from that electrician needing a kitchen remodeler, I connected the two. I just added value to 2 of my clients.
Right.
When those clients need another wrap, do you think they're going to come to me or the guy down the street that hasn't ever done anything for them.
Right.
So it's just, yeah, you got to be, I guess, smart about the calls. Obviously, don't call and say,
Hey.
They know why you're calling, but try to add value. So.
Right. Exactly. It's not calling and saying, hey, I'm kind of slow this week. You got anything going on?
Right. Right.
Yeah. That's crazy. I love it.
Yeah. But ultimately, listen and apply.
Listen and apply. I love it. That's a good way to end the podcast, man. It's been amazing. We're creeping up to almost 3 hours here. Can't even believe it.
Yeah. If they're still listening, they sure as heck better apply.
Oh fuck yeah, they're listening. I got some die-hard people on here that download weekly, which I appreciate. Everybody, each and every one of you guys that listen and take this free information that's here and, you know, apply it. Mm-hmm. I mean, God, it's just conversations may be funny and, in cases that they're serious, notes and great information, and it's all free here for everyone to listen, but amazing, man. Is there anything, before we sign off, is there anything else that, you may want to give as far as like information or a key piece of advice? I know you've given so much already, that you might want to end with.
I think my biggest piece of advice is just when you make a mistake, figure out how to never make the same mistake twice. Put a system or procedure in place. Make a mistake, make as many first time mistakes as there is to make, but never make that same mistake twice.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So,
it.
And then as for, I guess obviously following and connecting with me, I'm friendly with the whole industry. So if you have a question or DM me or want some outside eyes in on your problem, don't hesitate to DM us over at Performance Wraps LLC.
Nice. And you're on what platforms for Performance Wraps?
So we are on Instagram and Facebook heavily. I'm on LinkedIn, but don't waste your time checking us out there. But yeah, Instagram and Facebook are the two that I'm heavy on.
Nice.
And both of those are Performance Wraps LLC.
And then you got a website as well?
Yeah. Website's just performancewraps.com. Those are my three places.
Cool. Yeah. If you call, ask for Andrew and,
absolutely.
Take care of you. That's awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit and chat and talk about the industry and your journey and struggles and where you are now, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
What's up, folks? Hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Thank you to everyone that tuned in, and thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to IBOW Training, offering a variety of training options such as training at your shop, group training classes nationwide, and even private design print profile training through remote login. Learn more about IBOW at ibowtraining.com. Thank you also to We Print Wraps, the industry's #1 source for wholesale printed wraps, offering free nationwide shipping across the U.S. and Canada on all orders over $500. And don't forget, exclusive listeners of this podcast save 5% on your next order when you use promo code ALLWRAPPEDUP at checkout. See why industry pros love them and visit WePrintWraps.com. Till next time, folks, that's a wrap.